What's up, friends? My name's Aaron Ciotti, and I'm... Oh, boy. Man, my voice hasn't cracked in a long time. What's up, friends? Everybody calls me Ciotti. I am exhausted. I was on a gig until 6 a.m. last night. Midnight until 6 a.m. For a hip-hop artist who I don't know, but I had a blast. I'm just tired. I came home and I was all wired, and it was really hard to get to sleep, so I'm running on like 2 hours of sleep right now, but I won't die. That's all that matters. And you guys are here to hang out with me on Sunday for some Q&A. We're gonna look at a whole shitload of 1404s. Look at them all. These are just the ones that I've already tested. Some new challengers have arrived, and we're going to compare them to... This is one of every 1404 on RDQ Get FPV Pyro Drone. There are a couple more 1404s that exist, but they're harder to get a hold of, and I haven't gotten a hold of them. So, yeah, we're going to talk about 1404s today, and we're also going to get the Razorback back together, although it's together right now. It just doesn't have the fancy white racewire LEDs or the fancy white wires between the racewire and the ESC, or the blue LED in the rear, or the blue TPU in the rear, to fully make it the Razorback from The Expanse. Right now, it just looks like a quad with white motors. I'm trying to get it to look like, yeah, the ship called the Razorback from The Expanse. If you don't know what The Expanse is, go kill your... No, it's a show on Prime. It's a sci-fi show on Prime that, if you like sci-fi shows or science or just are a intelligent human being, you're gonna love it. You're gonna love my nuts. It's a great show. You'll love it. I'm pretty sure at this point that I can say that it's my favorite sci-fi show of all time. I'm not a huge sci-fi fan. I grew up watching Star Trek Next Generation with my dad. I love Firefly, but I don't really dig much deeper into sci-fi. Like, I'm not a Stargate fan. I'm not a Babylon fan. I haven't really gotten into any of the other Star Treks, but man, The Expanse is cool. Man, is that a good show. I really paid attention the first time through. Second and third times through, it was mainly like background noise, and I would catch it as I was doing stuff. But check it out, The Expanse on Amazon. You'll love it. So that's going to be today's live stream. It's going to be a little low energy. I apologize for that. But, you know, low energy live stream is hopefully better than no live stream. I really didn't want to cancel this live stream, even though I probably should have, because I feel like I'm bag of smashed assholes. In the chat, Apache Smoke Wind Sniper was first, Chopper FPV was next, CMYK FPV was in the house, TS13 FPV. CMYK dropping the link tree link to CiottiFPV.com. This is my full-time job. If you like this content and want to see it continue, I need your support. Head on over to CiottiFPV.com. There's a million ways you can support me. Some of them are free, whole bunch of affiliate links there. Every time you're doing an FPV order, you should be using one of our affiliate links. If it's not mine, Joshua. If it's not Joshua, there's plenty of other pilots with affiliate links. It is free money, and it helps us to create this content that you can watch for free. So get up on the affiliate links. I have affiliate links for Amazon. Also, if you're ever doing an Amazon order, we all have Amazon affiliate links. Help us out. We get 1 to 6% of every order if you use an affiliate link. And it doesn't affect you in any way. I have them for Amazon, FPVCycle, FPV Crate, Get FPV, Amagod's website, and a couple of others. You'll see them linked at CiottiFPV.com. There's also a Patreon channel. You can support me for $3 whole a month, which is 10 cents a day. That's what helps me out the most. The Patreon has a ton of stuff that you get back too. It's your best bang for your buck for sure. Etsy, Fiverr, all kinds of stuff going on. Click all the buttons. Make your gangly buddy happy. Profit. Goat life, bro. Dan636, Andrew Plemons, Paul McDonald, Pedro Tomei, Quadbot, Razzie B Productions, Northern Tier. Wow, all the fellas came out today for the tired man. Super Deluxe, EBR FPV, Grizz FPV, Jackalope, Cole Powers, Esk Race, Ed K, Super Deluxe with a $19.99 super chat. Heart, sweat. I think that's a little picture of a heart, and then sweat drops. I'm very old. I'm probably missing. I don't know how to use the emojis. What's that? What? Educate me, young people. What's heart sweat mean? Thank you very much, Super Deluxe. If you guys aren't following Super Deluxe, you're a dick. No, you should. He's a great guy making awesome content, and he supports the hell out of Joshua, me, a bunch of us that create content like this and try to do this FPV thing full time. Yeah, super rad dude. Go support him on his channel, give him a sub, check out his videos. They're a blast to watch. I don't watch many FPV pilots, but I do watch Super Deluxe. Rockcrawler FPV, Bitter Root, Martin. Did I get that right? I did. Martin. J-Rod FPV is in the house. Andrew Plemons, Joseph Zahari, Mr. Huggy, he's here. EBR FPV again. John Dre, Grizz FPV is in the house. If you want to talk directly to me, all you gotta do is type CiottiFPV. You can put an @ in front of it, but you don't have to. As long as you type CiottiFPV and you spell it right, it's gonna light up an orange, and I'm gonna know that you're talking to me. And I'm gonna read your comment. If you wanna talk to me and support me, you can do a super chat. But, you know, you can just tag me. It's all good. I get through pretty much all the tags every single live stream. So, if you have a good question, OG folks, if you see somebody asking a good question or somebody that misspells CiottiFPV, do me a favor, copy it, paste it, give that person credit, and we'll talk about it. Apache Smoke Moon Sniper tagged me and said, good evening, how are you doing? What's up, Collective? CMYK says, what's up, CiottiFPV? How are we doing today, Collective? Arazi B says, what's up, Collective? Hi. Grizz says, CiottiFPV and Collective, what it do? Super Deluxe says, 1999 Super Chat. Thanks again, dude. Rock Crawler says, hey everyone, hey CiottiFPV. J-Rod says, what's up, CiottiFPV and Collective. Andrew Plemons says, I'm 14 years old and I just started my YouTube channel. Is it okay to put the link in here? Andrew, unless you're a moderator, you're not going to be able to put a link in here. It's just YouTube, the way that YouTube works. But everybody sees your name there, so if anybody wants to check out your channel, they can just search your name on here on YouTube and they'll find it. GrizzFPV says, so CiottiFPV in Mamba F40 ESC didn't last a day. Oh, I think I meant to say my Mamba F40 ESC didn't last a day. Only 8 batteries and 1 motor twitches, won't spin, checked motor. LED ESC was the problem. Crashed into trees and ground. Shouldn't have happened. Yeah. That's a little too quick. That's a little too quick. I've had okay luck with Mamba stuff. I've heard other people say that Mamba stuff is good. Judging by the price and popularity of Mamba stuff, I've always been pretty skeptical. And in fairness, I only had, well, what's the Mamba stuff? Made by iFlight? I've actually, man, I look fucking tired. Jesus. Ha! Ugh. I literally woke up an hour ago. I'll sit back. That'll make me feel better about looking like hell. I'm in college. Everybody on my floor, the floor that I lived on in the dorms freshman year, we became really good friends. We were friends all through college. They used to call me the PEB, the puffy-eyed bastard. You can always tell if I've woken up within like the last hour or two by how puffy my fucking eyes are. I've got a Mamba ESC on the, I don't know, a 3-inch rig somewhere, and it's been fine. I also have a Mamba FC. It might be that F40 actually in the budget rig, also known as the test bed rig, and it's blowing up. It's when I push it really hard, it'll one of the arms will drop, and that's a 30 by 30 ESC. So, and that started happening pretty quick. That did not take many batteries for that to start happening. So, yeah, Mamba. I don't know. T-motor ESCs, the nice T-motor ESCs. I don't know anything about like the Pacer or the cheaper T-motor ESCs, but the most expensive T-motor ESCs certainly appear to be made by Acon. I'm 99.9% sure they're made by Acon. And for me, Acon ESCs have been almost indestructible. After like 3 years of beating the living balls out of them, I finally, like a week ago, had one let go. But Jesus, did I have to beat that thing to get it to die. I'm talking hundreds and hundreds and hundreds of slams in the concrete. You know, you guys have seen me fly. It's like it's sometimes it seems like I'm trying to destroy the quad on purpose, just for funsies. So yeah, and you can also still get Acon ESCs. So yeah, I don't know about that. I don't know about that Mamba. Not a great track record here from GrizzFPV though. But all that being said, you know, a bad one will always sneak through. We demand our stuff to be very inexpensive, so the quality control kind of goes out the window. The cheaper the stuff, the less quality control, and Mamba stuff is fairly inexpensive, so yeah. Doc Cock says, CiottiFPV, dude. Thanks for having that name, Doc Cock. I am 8 years old and like to say Doc Cock as often as possible. Denzel the Terrible says, hey, CiottiFPV, happy Sunday. GrizzFPV says, Brutus. I doubt it. They're super notchy, and we all know CiottiFPV doesn't do notchy motors. What was Brutus saying? Brutus says, is the TinyTrainer 1404 in the lineup? It is not, Brutus, for the exact reason that GrizzFPV says there. I have heard from multiple people that the TinyTrainer 1404s are super notchy, coggy. I actually have a video on how you can test notchiness and cogginess here in the channel with your iPhone. All of your iPhones have 240 frames a second, which will literally show you if a motor is notchy or not, and I explain that in the video. Basically, notchy, coggy motors, when you put an HD camera, when you pair them with an HD camera, you get jello. They are, if you're just going to run them on a TinyTrainer, for example, with an FPV camera, and you're just going for performance, they're great. But I don't do that. I don't race. Everything that I build is designed for HD because I fly freestyle and cinematic. So yeah, for any freestyle cinematic work, coggy motors are a little bit of a nightmare. Coggy motors are also very, very difficult to tune. So yeah, kind of a pain in the ass. They're not only are they difficult to tune, but you'll never get as good of a tune on a coggy motor as you will on a smooth running motor, because that cogginess is putting vibrations into the frame, so you'll never be able to reduce your filters the same amount or push the PIDs up the same amount as with a smooth running motor. So yeah, there you go. Doc Cock 100 with a 5. The fuck is wrong with me? With a 5-pound super chat, he says, just completed Apex 3-inch. Ooh, very cool. Mamba. Sorry, brother. 1404 Zing 2. That is a little small of a motor for that heavy-ass frame. The Apex frame is very, very, very heavy. I actually don't love the Apex frame. The arms are a little bit too thick, in my opinion. And what that's going to do is basically the arms are never going to break, and all that energy is going to get put into the motors. So the Apex frame is going to be very, very, very hard on motors. So if you're going to do the Apex frame, what you want to pair it with is a motor that has a 3mm motor shaft. Unfortunately, there's only one that's not super coggy, and that's the Xnova 1804. Fortunately, the Xnova 1804 is a brilliant motor, arguably the best micromotor available. So, yeah, Pyrodrone sells it. Xnova 1804, and then the propellers you want to put on there are the T-Motor 3140. 3140s. Those are arguably the best micro propellers that we've got. So, but Doc Cock has a question. 1404 Zing 2, flying like it's got hiccups. Irregular mini hops, about 2 every second, not like a flyaway. Suggestions. So first and foremost, this is the Zing the Zing 2 1404. It's a little bit coggy. It's actually not that bad. Oh yeah, totally making a Slapchop reference. Michael D. Yeah, it's not super coggy, so I'm not gonna blame that on the motors. I don't think that your motors are coggy enough to where it's causing that issue. But, well, so I was gonna, typically with stuff like this, the first thing you want to try is taking one motor and moving it with another, but you're just getting, like, the whole rig is just moving around. You're not getting, like, an arm drop or anything like that. So, basically, one of two things is happening. Doc Cock. You've either got too much electrical noise, or you've got too much physical vibration going on. Electrical noise is all about the quality of the components that you put in there, and or is the ESC just blown up? You know, Grizz is going through a Mamba ESC that's broken. I have one that's broken. Could be that. Could just be a situation where they didn't put enough capacitors on the ESC itself. You can rule that out by putting an external capacitor on. Get like a little 300 or 400 or 500 or 600 UF capacitor, wire it up to the ESC battery pads, see if that helps. Use as short of wires as you possibly can. It does make a difference. Once you've ruled that out, once you've done that, if that doesn't help it, it's either a terminal problem with the ESC or it's a physical vibration issue. And you might actually want to attack the physical vibration shit first. I typically do. Hook your rig up to Betaflight, take the props off, spin each motor up individually. Make sure that one of the motors doesn't vibrate harder than the rest. When you spin the motors up in the motor tab, keep your hand on the rig so you can feel the vibrations. All 4 motors should vibrate roughly the same amount. It doesn't sound like you've flown the rig a lot, so it's probably not been crashed hard. So the motor should be pretty vibration free. But how vibration free is vibration free? You just want to compare it to the other motors on that rig. If you have another quad or two, do the same thing with them. Start doing this as often as possible so that you can get a baseline in your head of how much vibration you get with a clean brand new motor, how much you get from like a premium motor versus like a happy model motor. There will be a difference there. And then the vibes that you get from motors that have been crashed a bunch. That's a really important thing. That the health of your motors has everything to do with how far you can push your PID tune, how low you can pull your filters, and just, yeah, motor heat, all kinds of stuff. It's really important to know that. So check to make sure the motors aren't wobbly. Check your propeller. I mean, there are a couple of HQ propellers that are just not balanced, and that can cause this issue. So if the main one is the HQ 3 by 2.5 by 3. That is an out of balance propeller right out of the package. Their mold is fucked. There are a couple of other HQ props that are not balanced, but they're older. GemFan props don't have this problem. It's one of the reasons I love GemFan. So then check your screws. Make sure everything's tight. Check the arms. Make sure that they're not delaminated. That frame is so overbuilt that I really can't imagine that. But bend the arms like I always show you guys. Twist the arms like I show you. And then look at your flight controller. Your flight controller needs to be mounted firmly, but it needs to be mounted firm but loose. It can't be like bouncing around like this Flight 1 shit where like they told you to not put the nuts on top of the flight controller. Ooh, is that the worst idea ever? You need to have nuts on the top of the flight controller grommets, and they need to be pushing down a little bit on the grommets themselves. Not a lot, but just a little bit. There needs to be, basically, you need to be able to push down. Imagine you've got your 4 standoff screws. You need to be able to push down the flight controller. It needs to compress a little bit, and then it needs to come right back to the bottom of that nut. Ideally, when you do that, you don't want to see a gap appear between the top of the PCB of the flight controller and the nut itself. You want to tighten the nut down enough where you can push the flight controller down and the grommet won't lose contact with it, basically. Do that all around. And then you want to also make sure that nothing is touching the flight controller. Like, one of the things I've been dealing with with a couple of the DJI rigs is I have this big long MIPI cable coming from the back up over into the camera. And what's happened a couple times is that MIPI cable will push up against the flight controller. So then in flight, that cable can do this, and that's putting garbage data into the gyro, and it doesn't know what the hell to do with that. So make sure there's no camera cable or any other cables that are pushed up against the flight controller that in air, because like even with clean motors, clean props, like these are fucking vibration machines, man. Like women all around the world should be buying these. See what I did there? Shouldn't have said that. I should have said, women around the world should be buying these to replace us dirty, awful men. Yeah, vibrations are a big thing. So there's a whole shitload of stuff to check. Could just be the ESC could just be bad though, to be honest with you. A lot of times twitching like that is the ESC failing. Technically speaking, it could also be the gyro on the flight controller, could be on its way out. Do this. Take it out and do full stick rolls in either direction, full stick front flips and back flips, and then do full yaw rotations. And listen. Listen for, like, when you do a full flip or roll, it should be nice and smooth. You should hear rip of you throwing the rig up in the air, so it should be rip, woo. Like there's a little like woo of it, like kind of kicking the motors up. But in the middle of the move, it should be very quiet. This is how you, for the record, this is how you can tell if your gyro and your flight controller is going bad. This isn't 100% effective, but this is like 99% effective. So you do flips, you do rolls, and what you're listening for is when the gyro fails, it typically fails on one axis. It'll just fail front to back, or it'll just fail left to right, or it'll just fail in the rotation axis. So what you're listening for is like garbage in one direction. So if you do a roll and it's nice and smooth, you do a front flip, a back flip, it's nice and smooth, but then you do a yaw rotation, and the whole way around on yaw, it's going like brrr. That means the gyro has shit the bed in the yaw orientation. I've actually never had one fail in the yaw orientation. I've only ever had it fail on flips and rolls, but it was very obvious. Like I would do a front flip, it would be totally fine. Roop, 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 roop. And then I would do a roll and it would brrr, 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 or even like a couple little twitches in the middle of the roll. But yeah, that's how you can tell if your gyro is shitting the bed. FamG says I was late. Michael Blade says, hey bud. Michael D says PayPal. If you don't want to do a super chat because you don't like YouTube/Google taking 30%, you can head on over to CiottiFPV.com, scroll down to the bottom, there's a PayPal button, and you can do exactly what Michael D did and just tag me in chat and type PayPal. Michael D sent $20 on PayPal. Damn, dude, very, very generous of you. Thank you, thank you, thank you. He says, he says, forgot to use your affiliate link when I made my Amazon purchase today. Thank you, Michael D. Super generous of you, man. Yeah, I mean, don't feel too bad. I forgot to use my own affiliate links. So, all right. Here we go. Gardo Rotor's in the chat. What's up, Gardo? What's up, Confused? Gardo says, I stopped in to say hello before I made in this build. CiottiFPV and Super Deluxe wish me luck. That was at 3:10. He's probably gone by now. It's 20 minutes later, but hopefully the maiden goes well. I think Gardo and Kim are maidening a solderless build, a solderless Skyliner. I think I saw on their Instagram. Oh, hey, speaking of Instagram, look at this. Oh, well, this isn't Instagram, but look at this. Okay, come on. Are you gonna... There we go. Maggie and I spent a bunch of time on Thursday doing some landscaping stuff at the new house, and that's why I was all bit up. I still have all these mosquito bites all over the place. Look like I have herpes. But yeah, she went back today and put like the finishing touches on it, which was to spread a shitload of pine straw out. Look at this. Look at this, yo. This is gonna be the new headquarters very, very soon. End of July. Oh, look at that. Look at all that pine straw. Look at that. Yeah, we did like some light I don't know what it's called when you do stuff out here. Yard work? Is that called yard work? Look at that. Look at that. Yeah, I moved those bricks around. What do you think of that? I was a bricklayer. Look at this place. Come on now. Who's the luckiest dude you know? It's me. Look, we put all those rocks in there. Yeah. This is all new to me, man. I haven't lived in a house in over 20 years, so it's the little things that get me. Landscaping, that's it. Landscaping. That's that's words that adults know. So yeah, that was interesting. It's a good workout. It's a good workout. This light is just shitting the bed immediately. I must have spent 45 minutes blowing shit around out there. But man, it looks so much better. It had been neglected a little bit by the previous owners, so it was good to get it just kind of cleaned up a little bit. It made a huge difference, and we're already starting to scheme on the backyard how we're gonna turn it into a little oasis. And the backyard it's gonna be a very fun flying spot. So this should be cool. This is I'm super excited. Thanks again, Michael D. Very cool of you. Rob Axelson says, shh, I'm at work, don't tell anyone. All right, your secret's safe with us. Rob Axelson says, got your package. Gonna build a badass 3-inch with that frame with HD0. Which frame's that? Is that FPVCycle prototype frame, Rob? If so, enjoy. That is a very, very cool frame. And with those prop guards, that's pretty slick. Cole Powers says, is this the live stream where CiottiFPV goes crazy from lack of sleep? I hope not, because I have another gig after the stream. I'm actually doing my first exposure bucks gig this afternoon. Back in my days of shooting stills, I learned very quickly not to work for exposure. But when you have a client who refers you to other people over and over and over again, in my opinion, that's when you should work for exposure bucks, because it's a huge thank you, right? But it's also exposure. One of the arguably like the biggest local director here in Atlanta when it comes to music videos, he's having a huge birthday party today, and he's inviting like hundreds of people. He's a big deal. So he's having this huge party, and he's tied in with a lot of other, people in the film world. And he asked if I'd be willing to come out and fly a little bit. And I was like, Roger, for you, absolutely, man, absolutely. He's who got me onto the Masego Big Boy. I forget the third huge artist gig. And then he was my referral for the Little Baby video. He's come through a bunch of times with like big referrals that have led to day rates. So, yeah, I guess what I'll say is, don't work for exposure for people that you don't know. And I've made that mistake before. I got hired to fly a wedding earlier this year from a well-known photographer, and Bravo was there filming a TV show called Family Karma, and there wasn't enough budget for my normal day rate, but the photographer said, hey, I can get you some airtime with Bravo. And I was like, okay. And I went into it knowing that probably wasn't going to happen, but the amount of money that he was willing to give me was still a good amount of money for flying quads. Let's just be honest. I love my job. I do a really good job holding the line and not working for exposure all the time, or at all, really. But it was a calculated risk, and half my day rate is still good Saturday's work. turned out to be the most stressful gig I ever flew, and it was run and gun, and it was crazy, but it was still flying quads. It was still super fun. And sure enough, didn't get any airtime on Bravo, but, you know, knew that going in. And I don't regret it, but it's just, you know, one of those things you gotta understand with. I mean, it's freelance life. Everybody that's ever done freelance work is very familiar with this situation, and it's tough because you wanna show off your craft and you want to make those connections, but it certainly feels like once you start working for exposure, people kind of find out about it and they expect you to work for exposure, and you get asked a lot to work for exposure, and then it's even harder to say no. That's how it went for me shooting stills. Now flying FPV, setting no precedent that I will ever work for exposure. I don't get asked to work for exposure anymore. I have, but it's been a long time since I've been asked. So I think basically what happens is if you're willing to work for exposure, you get tied into, this is going to sound terrible, but this is the easiest way to say it. You get networked and tied into broke people. Sounds terrible, right? But think about it. Whereas if you refuse to work for exposure, you spend time with and get tied in with the people that have enough money to actually pay you. Easier said than done, of course. I'm also very fortunate to have started flying 6 years ago. I'm one of like the OG people. I have a half decent YouTube following, right? I know a lot of the other. I'm friends with a lot of the other pro pilots. So yeah, easy for me to say. I'm very, very, very lucky in all those ways. But I started from nothing too, just like anybody else would. So yeah, I certainly have some advantages. But if you make the right decisions, I think it's very doable. But it's a slippery slope because you don't want to say no to everything. But you got to know what you're worth, and you gotta. I think even more so than that, you just need to really like take a step back from it and be like, all right, realistically, will this pay off? Right? It's not like you got to get out of this like, oh, it could be great, or oh, that could be a huge thing, right? You have to like really sit back and be like, okay, what are we talking here? 10% chance that I'll get on that I'll get airtime with Bravo, or 50% chance I'll get airtime with Bravo, right? And then you got to look at like, how much is the actual pay? It's half my day rate. That's still a good amount of money for a day's work. But then you got to, looking back, I should have passed on it because the amount of risk with flying that wedding in this like really run and gun, like totally uncontrolled situation, was too much for that. And so you just have to be honest with yourself and think through all of that. And it's important. It's important to do that if you want to not be that guy that either is not successful or fucks it up for the rest of us by smacking into the bride's face at full tilt. So yeah, there you go. There's an answer to a question that didn't even get asked. Flyzone Drone says, what's up, bro? GrizzFPV says, I've used Mamba before, but I wanted to try out the 128K ESC. First time out with all my builds. That I've lost an ESC that quick. Acon for the win. For the record, 128K sucks. You want 24K to 48K. This whole 96, 128, it's nonsense. The gains are like minimal, and the lack of braking torque from being up that high is shit. So yeah, don't get wooed by the hype of these 96K, 128K ESCs. They're not good. Some of them will give you the range for your low PWM to be 24, and then the high can be above 48. But I've actually not seen that. I've only heard that that's a thing. For what I've seen is that the 96K and the 128K ESCs, they'll only let you do like 128 to 96 or 96 to 48, and you don't want that. You want your low PWM to be 24. There is a significant increase in braking torque that really makes a difference in flight, to having the PWM low be at 24. So yeah. And then, like I said, going above 48 for the high PWM, the gains are almost nothing. So yeah, what's the point? You'll be better, and I'll go a step further and say that you would be better off running 24K fixed than 96 or 128 in terms of flight performance. YouTube's about to do the thing. There it is. Thanks for doing the thing, YouTube. Javier Gallardo says, just received a piece of history. The LB97 frame prize just arrived in Chile with no problem. Thanks, man. Javier, my pleasure. Please, when you've built that, take some pictures of it and send it to me. Javier, were you on the stream where I told the story of the LB97? Or do you know the story of the LB97? You said that you said in your comment here, I just received a piece of history, so I have a feeling you might know about the LB97. But if you don't, tag me in the chat, and I'll tell you the story of the LB97. I mean, long story short, it was a very early frame for me, and I loved it so much I got some extras cut. But yeah, if you want more to that story, let me know. But dude, seriously, please, I would love to see that thing built. I would love to see some flight footage from it. I would love to see what you do with it. It's technically made for an all-in-one camera and VTX backpack thing, but nowadays you should be able to fit, I think there's a nano camera in there. You should be able to fit the nano camera in the front of that thing. I have such a soft spot in my heart for that frame, but I've got too many goddamn quads, so I can't keep them all. And I would much rather see you guys fly shit that I'm hoarding here than me just have it sitting in a basket in an IKEA Kallax shelving unit. Glad that it made it, Javier. Enjoy, my friend. Athix FPV says, building a 75mm tiny lifter. Wish me the best. Very cool, Athix. Make sure you let me know how it goes. I got to spend some more time on my tiny lifters. I've got look at this shit. I bagged up all of my like half done or broken or in need of upgrading tiny whoops. So this is the all black tiny lifter here, which is going to get, so this is on a Newbie Drone V3 AIO, and this is going to get a set of Beta FPV 1102 18,000s for 2S, of course. And I think, yeah, I've got a BT 2.0, I already have it on there, BT 2.0 double connector, you know, hook up two 1S batteries to get 2S. This is the Iron Man tiny lifter with the gold Newbie Drone 0802s. This came apart because I'm going to put BT 2.0 on it. It was on PH 2.0. And I'm also going to put Express CLRS. This one as well. This one's also getting Express CLRS. This one, I am going to leave this on the Newbie Drone 0802 motors because they're big, chonky 0802s. And this is the closest thing to like an all Newbie Drone tiny lifter. So this is kind of cool. The motors do kind of overheat, but I want to spend a little bit more time with this because this is kind of interesting. Like this is basically you go on Newbie Drone's website and you buy their 75X or whatever the hell it's called, and then you put a 2S connector on it, or you just buy these three 2S 300 mAh batteries that have PH 2.0 connectors from me, and then you've got a damn near plug and play tiny lifter that'll carry. Tiny lifter is the name, for anybody not keeping score, tiny lifter is the name that I've put on these 75mm tinywhoops that are specifically designed to carry Insta360 Go 2s, which are brilliant 28-gram HD cameras. You know, it's a lifter because it's picking up a camera that's kind of heavy for what it is. So yeah, this one's kind of cool. This is the blue tiny lifter, which is actually getting a prototype newbie drone V3 AIO with the VT with an improvement to the VTX. This one already has the Beta FPV 1102 18,000. So I'm really excited to have two tiny lifters, both with those 1102s, because those 1102s are, I think, the right motor. So these two are going to be the ones that actually get flown. This plug and play one. Like I said, the motors overheat. I already know that. But it's cool to have this as like a comparison point, and to show you guys what you can get damn near plug and play if you want to move around an Insta360 Go 2. And then I've got this. I might do another 75mm freestyle build. It's the Mobula 7 frame newbie drone AIO, and then the T-Motor 0803 22,000 kV motors. This is dead last on the list. But yeah, we got some tinywhoop builds to get knocked out, and I'm looking forward to it because I went all in on these tiny lifters, and then I don't know what happened, but I stopped flying them, I stopped developing them, and I think they're almost ready to go. I think they're almost ready to go out in the wild and get some really cool Insta360 Go footage in like weird locations. Like I really want to take those to like malls and shit and like fly around the mall because they're so safe and light, and yeah, I think I can get away with it. And if I get kicked out, I get kicked out. You know, like if you went to a mall and flew a 5-inch rig, like they would call the cops on you. You go to the mall with one of those, they're just gonna be like, hey, you can't fly that here. It's cool looking though. You know, like it's a totally different reaction to small and obviously safe stuff. So yeah. Custom Creations says, I want to build a tinywhoop, but have two requirements, 2 to 3S and ELRS. What would you recommend? I would not recommend you buy a build a tinywhoop with those two requirements. Well, with one of those requirements. ELRS is great. But 2 to 3S is not a good idea for tinywhoops. They end up, unless it's a tiny lifter. If it's a tiny lifter, 2S makes sense. 3S absolutely doesn't make any sense for a tinywhoop. Don't do it. It's a terrible idea. So if you're looking to specifically build like a tiny lifter, like a full, so those are not freestyle Cinewhoops at all. Those are, tinywhoops rather. Those are Cinewhoops. That is like a tiny Cinewhoop. So if that's what you're looking for, if you're looking to fly cinematic, then 2S can work. Typically, that's not what a tinywhoop is. Tinywhoop is a small, lightweight, indoor, full-tilt freestyle or racing rig. And anything more than 1S just makes no sense. It just makes it way too heavy. And there are plenty of options on the 1S side where you can make gobs of power. So, yeah, if you want to do 2 or 3S, just don't build a tinywhoop. Build a 2-inch rig, build a 2.5-inch rig. That's all that really makes any sense. A 2S or a 3S tinywhoop indoors is A, impossible to fly because it's too heavy and it carries too much momentum. B, it's going to break all your shit. It's going to hit so hard that like you're going to break your TV, you're going to break your fucking monitor, you're going to knock over every single vase in the house. 1S is great because it's so lightweight that you can go bouncing off the walls and the mirror and the record player and the lamps and shit like that, and they don't explode. So, yeah, that's kind of the deal there. No one FPV says landscaping. Thank you, dude. Super Deluxe says, my favorite stonemason. Family G says, I see plenty of spots to rip. Yeah, this house should be fun. Should be a fun little flying spot. The backyard is filled with trees, so there should be some cool dive gaps and some other fun stuff going on. The only problem with the backyard right now is because it's been neglected, there's like an entire layer over the whole backyard of like these leafy, viney motherfuckers. So basically, it's a situation where, like, if I crash in the backyard, I'm taking the fucking walk every time. But we've got plans. The backyard it kind of grades down, and one of the neighbors, they did this beautiful thing where they terrace their yard, and then they stacked stones up. I'll take a picture one day for you guys. But that's what Maggie and I think that we want to do, like kind of make like little like paths like this. Like you see them in Asia a lot, right? With the elevation, they like cut into the mountainside and like, and yeah, we want to do that so that we can make like a cool winding path and like put a little bench somewhere, and should be fun, man. I'm looking forward to it. Danzel the Terrible says, that looks like a sweet place. You're a lucky gangly man. I am the luckiest, gangliest man on earth. Fuck the place. Just being able to live with Maggie and the kids is didn't know it could be like this, man. I look at my life a little over a year ago versus today, and I'm like, not just a little over a year ago, but 2 years ago, 3 years ago, 4 years ago, and it's just like, wow. This is, I didn't know life could be this good. So, luckiest man ever is who you're, luckiest man ever FPV. What do you think of that? Rob Axelson says, say goodbye to FPV and hello to Honeydew List. A little bit. I mean, what's nice is, like, the time that I spend wallowing in my own depression and just whatever here alone, I'll spend doing yard work and stuff. It's very interesting when I'm at so I split my weeks. I live half my week with Maggie and the kids. I really I just do very well living with other people, but B, living with them, because like they're great people and I want to make their lives better, and doing stuff around the house does exactly that. So it's really cool. I really enjoy it, and yeah, it's gonna be fun. And like I love, as much as I hate to admit it, because I hate moving my body around and being sore and shit like that. I do really enjoy, like, not menial tasks, but menial tasks, like just mindless kind of just leaf blowing, for example. Like, I love that shit, man. I love just giving my brain, because it gives me space to like think. Much like, you know, when you shower, you always come up with your best ideas, right? Dr. K was actually just recently talking about that. How like our society now, Dr. K is Healthy Gamer here on YouTube. If you're not subscribed to Healthy Gamer, just, you're not good. Subscribe to Healthy Gamer here on YouTube. He'll change your life, I swear to God, like, for real. But he was just talking about this, how like our society today, like, we've taken away like any space to just fucking relax and like let our brain think. And it's a big part of the reason why we have trouble sleeping, is because we, at this point, like, we only have 2 times in our day where we give our brain the chance to like vent and like actually think. And it's when we're in the shower, and that's why we get all these good ideas when we're in the shower. And then it's when we lay down at the end of the night. Like, we haven't given our brain enough time to like think about shit. So we lay down, and and this is me, this is my life for the last 40 years. I lay down and off to the races, and my brain thinks of every possible thing that it can for the next 2 hours, because I haven't given it the chance to do that all day, because all day I've had music on, I've had shows on, I've had FPV work to do, I've been live streaming, I've been, right? It's just, the whole world is just, so yeah, monotonous kind of tasks, give my brain the opportunity to like think about shit. I'm starting to make like little adjustments to try to help this. Actually, I just started to. I'm gonna try to not listen to music in the car, and so when I'm in the car, it's just gonna be silence, and hopefully the task of driving is not like in the 2. because there's no real exhaust and it just doesn't have any power, it's pretty boring, so that's kind of perfect. In the Miata, that's an engaging enough experience where, like, my brain probably doesn't have the capacity to accomplish this, but yeah, I'll probably never have the Miata again, so that's good to go. But yeah, making little shifts to try some things. No One FPV says, congrats on the new pad, by the way. Looks like you're going to have some fun. Yeah, it's going to be a blast. Rob Axelson says, you didn't know where you got the frame or who made it according to the giveaway stream. Which frame is that? Rob, which frame is that? Can you take a picture? I'm curious now. Send it to me on CiottiFPV on either Instagram or Facebook if you have either one of them. Which frame is that? HealthyGamerGG says, exposure gigs don't always brighten your future. Oh, it's true. Reading the Wind is in the house. He says, what's up, Collective? What's up, CiottiFPV? No One FPV says, do you have a battery on the charger? There's something periodically beeping. I did. I'm surprised you guys could hear that. It's pretty quiet. I have it set on quiet. Super Deluxe says, Ciotti is my favorite Bravo pilot. CMYKFPV says, yeah, man, freelance isn't free. Very much so. Rob Oxison says, shooting stills, if you can afford yourself, you're not charging enough. Very, very true. Bobby Bag says, yo, what's up? Maggie Schmidt's in the house. Hello, girl. How are you? Oh, that was a while ago. Man, I'm behind. All right, let me get caught up. Time to go fast. Reading the Wind says, Mamba runs from 24K to 128K. Okay, good. I have heard that before. Will it let you in BL Heli 32 put the low PWM at 24 and the high at 128 though? Or does it force it? When I tried to do it, it would only allow me to have that smaller gap. I could either do 24 to 48 or 48 to 96 or 96 to 128. It wouldn't let me go ends of the spectrum. But that was only with one ESC. And then after I saw how that flew on 96, I was like, no, this is stupid. 24 to 48 for life. Brandon's Baked Beans putting some awesome tech, talking about 48K fix will be easier to tune, but have less top punch over 24K. Brandon's Baked Beans, if you guys don't know it, is our resident black box ninja guru maniac. He works with the Emu Flight devs. Super cool guy, really knows his shit, and he will help you tune your rigs via black box for $1 a minute, which is a hell of a deal. I have tuning help in my Fiverr. That is more educational, helping you understand what the tuning is. Yes, I will tune your rigs. I will not use black box, but I will tune your rigs for you during that session. But the session is about teaching you what I'm doing so that hopefully you don't have to come back to me. Hopefully at the end of a tuning session with me, half an hour or an hour, I've given you enough knowledge and a roadmap as to where to go from the end of that phone call moving forward so that you can be comfortable enough to tune it yourself, because it's really not that difficult. I know it seems super confusing and insane, but it really isn't, I promise. But certain tunes are more challenging, and that's where Brandon's Baked Beans is gonna just be your fucking absolute savior, because he uses black box, and black box is really where what you need to tune the truly unruly rigs. Brandon, I actually am gonna be bugging you soon because this QAVS Freybot is being a real dick. The motors are getting super hot, and I don't think it's an electrical problem. And I don't know. I just can't quite figure it out. You know, it's a really weird frame, and it's really a kind of weird setup. And in those cases, that's where black box tuning becomes a necessity. Yeah, I just don't use black box. I typically don't have to. But yeah, fair warning, Brandon. I'm gonna be bugging you about this because I can't get the motor heat under control, and I'm hoping that there's something. I actually have a log that I took on this flight controller, so I'm hoping that there's something in that log that'll explain why the motors are getting so hot. Maybe it's electrical noise, even though I don't think that's what it is, because this is a known ESC and it's got an external capacitor on it. But yeah, I don't know. We'll see. And I'll let you guys know what's up. Abraham says, you got your 30,000 kV motors before I did. Flown them yet? Did you do Unibel or UX or EX? I've got EXs waiting. Abraham, this last Wednesday and the Wednesday before, well, I don't know. Just look back at my last like 5 or 6 streams. There are 2 streams where I flew the 30,000 kV motors. They're wild. I got the 0702s and the 0802s. I did not get the EXs because I'm afraid of the durability. The 0702s are unbelievable on a bi-blade propeller. The 0802 30,000s are a little bit less impressive, if I'm honest. I'm most blown away by the 0702s. The 0802s definitely have more grunt, but they're quite a bit heavier. I've had them on GemFan tri-blades, HQ tri-blades, and the GemFan bi-blades, and I need to test them more. It almost seems like they like the bi-blades the best. If that's the case, I would rather go with the 0702s because they're a lot lighter. But more testing is needed. This coming Wednesday, I'll fly them some more. This Whoop Wednesday, and yeah, I'll get it dialed in. But thus far, I am absolutely blown away by the 0702 30,000s. On the GemFan bi-blades, I really think that's the freestyle setup. Fair warning, they're very hard to fly. All of these 30,000 kV motors are a motherfucker. They make flying in small spaces, you're just kind of holding on for dear life. And I'm a half decent pilot. So for those of you that aren't like complete ninja pilots, I mean, if you get them, you're probably going to want to motor limit them down quite a bit. At which point, like, why even bother? But why even bother? Because if you get good, you can turn that motor limiting up. But man, yeah, they make flying they make flying tough inside, and I don't really recommend tinywhoops outside. It just doesn't make any sense. 3-inch toothpick is much better suited. But yeah, they're pretty wild. ScottFPV says, I've got a set of 1404 4850 kV flywheel motors. Do you think they would be okay on a 3-inch 4S ripsqueak? Absolutely, Scott. They'll actually be great on that. Try to keep the build as light as possible, though. Don't put big chunks of TPU on it and shit like that. Keep that build light. Try to keep it like... Your target should be like 220-ish grams all up. And it's going to fly great. Remy Tim's in the house. What's up, brother? Remy Tim had a great live stream, I think, yesterday. He received his stick and dick end package with every single... one of every single stick end in M3, even though there was one M4 in there. And he did a live stream and went through them and tried them all out. And that was super cool to watch. If you don't know what that is, for my patrons, which costs you $3 whole a month, 10 cents a day, you get access to my full Discord channel. And there's a text channel called Stick and Dick Ends. And in there, what I did is I bought one of every single stick end that exists in both M3 and M4. And then folks that donated towards that, because it cost me hundreds and hundreds and hundreds of dollars. I think it was almost $500 all said and done. You had to pay into it. It's still open. You can still go in there and pay into it. And it's just $1 or more. Hopefully you pay into it like $5 or more, because that's what shipping costs me. But if you only pay $1, whatever. It's $1 that I didn't have previously. Yeah, you get sent to you this box of all the stick ends, and then you can put them on your transmitter and you can see if you like them or not. Because as Remy Tim says in his live stream yesterday, there is no way to know if you're going to like a stick end from a picture on a website. You have to buy it. to see if it works with your fingers, with your transmitter, with how you move the sticks, all this stuff. So, yeah, that was a pretty cool little project. There's a, yeah, you'll see it. If you're interested in it, head over there and you'll see what it's all about. Abraham says, I feel like we really need to draw a line somewhere and stop calling things tiny whoops. And I think that line should be at battery voltage. It can be a whoop, but if it's 2S plus, it's not a tiny whoop. I've always thought about it from the perspective of prop. You know, this is a conversation that Joshua and I had in regards to the tiny whoop part of his website, fpvknowitall.com. And I'm a believer that 75 millimeters motor to motor, which is a 1.6 inch prop, my opinion is that that's it. Like that's the top of a tiny whoop. But battery voltage is a really interesting one. I would almost say that battery voltage is a better line in the sand, because 2S is just not. 2S is just too heavy to fly inside, and tiny whoops are. But see, then it's like, what is flying inside really what a tiny whoop is, right? I guess if we go all the way back, tiny whoop was the nomenclature that Jesse Perkins put onto 65 millimeter motor to motor, which is a 1.2 inch prop, 1S, brushed, Ishin 010s with an AIO camera and VTX rubber banded to it. So if we go all the way back, fuck the brushed motor thing, right? 1S 65 mil. But I think 75 millimeters is totally fine to be called a tiny whoop. But I might agree with you there, Abraham, where that 1S is, it looks like you might be saying 2S, but I'll double down on that shit and I'll say 1S. What do you guys think? Type 1S into the chat if you agree with me. Type 2S into the chat if you think that that 2S should be considered a tiny whoop as well. Brandon, I'm not going to wreck your last name, Brandon. Brandon just became a patron. Welcome to the collective, my man. Thank you for the support. Very, very cool of you. Stay a while and listen. Who knows what that's from? I'm not going to give you a hint. Kevin Smith says, "What's a record player?" It's you know, ask your parents, Kevin. Unless you're probably just making a joke. My very first obsession / hobby / whatever. Drew R just became a $3 patron. Thank you so much for the support, Drew. Welcome to hell, or welcome to the coolest group of people in hell. Or oh, the goat stopped. He's never stopped before. Oh, he's okay. He's okay. Rob Exerson says, like I said, say goodbye to FPV and on a do list. I doubt it, to be honest, Rob, but it's fine. But yeah, I mean, I know that there'll be more stuff around the house to do for sure. But I don't know. Maggie the kids and I make a good team, and so I actually don't foresee it being a situation where it's like all I'm doing is yard work or housework or whatever. You know, living alone, like, you have to do all your own shit, and that takes quite a bit of time. So it's interesting. Like the half of my week that I live with Maggie and the kids, I don't actually notice much of a difference in the amount of time, and I kind of try my best to do more than I need to, like at her place, just to clean shit up and dishes and whatnot. I don't see much, if any, of a difference in time spent because there's other people there doing stuff to help. It's pretty wild. But yeah, I don't know. I maybe I'm just high maintenance when I live alone, but I end up doing a lot of shit around here over and over and over again for myself because I have no help, right? And it takes a significant chunk of time, so I'm just used to that. I'm just used to, you know, a couple hours of my day every day being just monotonous, like cleaning shit, whatever, just to live in a... I like to live in a clean place. I you know, and that takes time. It takes time to keep your own place completely clean. So, Pyro says, just got to learn to use your quad to blow leaves. I was thinking about it. I didn't have any, I didn't have any rigs with me, but I was blown to it. I was like, man, I'll be able to do this with the fucking quad. Mainly, I was looking at the roof. There's like, we're covered by trees, and there's like some leaves and sticks and shit up on the roof. I'm like, man, I could just get up there with a 5-inch, and just blow that big branch off. Abraham says, if you like leaf blowing, wait till you start cutting grass. It's incredible. We do not have much grass to cut. We have like, I don't know, 30 feet by 20 feet worth of grass to cut. So when I was leaf blowing, Maggie cut the grass in like 15 minutes, if that. It might even be less than that. That was actually something that that was like a part of our pros and cons or whatever when we were looking at houses. A big pro was like small lawn, because nobody wants to fucking cut a big lawn. And we managed to find it. Michael D said, with a $5 super chat, he says, does Maggie fly FPV? She does not. She has flown a couple of batteries of line of sight, just with a little tinywhoop. For Christmas, I put together a little brush tinywhoop and Beta FPV light radio, little packet with a bunch of batteries for her and the kids. If at some point they wanted to try it, you know, I made sure to explain, like, no pressure. If this sits on the shelf and nobody touches it, it's fine. And yeah, she did a couple little batteries since then, just line of sight, and she was like, oh, this is pretty fun. But we're pretty busy. But we'll see. It's a hobby that can be picked up at any time. All right, I gotta go fast. Thanks again, Michael D, for the super chat. Very cool of you. Mikhail says, what's a good starting point to angle my GoPro mount for FPV general purpose? For 5-inch freestyle rigs, in my opinion, 30 degrees. Well, actually, for everything freestyle and outdoor, 30 degrees. For indoor tiny whooping, 10 degrees, maybe 15. And then for cinematic stuff, cinewhooping, 10 to 20 is typically the sweet spot. Depends on what you're doing. The easiest thing to think about is the amount of up tilt is going to control how fast you go. If you run a bunch of up tilt, well, like we have a tendency to put, when we're flying, we have a tendency to put the horizon roughly in the middle of our view. So if you've got like 40 degrees of up tilt, you're going to fly really fast because you're going to tend to put that horizon line in the middle, and that's going to be fucking hauling. If you have 10 degrees of up tilt, you're going to typically put that horizon line in the middle, and you're going to be going nice and slow. So the up tilt typically designates how fast you fly. I have different rigs for different speeds. The Razorback that we're going to be working on in a little bit here, it's got a 40 degree mount, 40 degree up tilt mount, because that's meant to go fast, just like the Razorback in the Expanse. The Cinewhoops are on 10 or 20 degree up tilt mounts because they're meant to go slow. So yeah, it all depends on how fast you want to go, is going to be my answer. Rob Axelson says, driving in Atlanta, relaxing. Yeah, I mean, with all the driving on the racetrack that I've done in my past, driving in Atlanta is whatever. It's just normal. It actually is kind of relaxed. Not being at the edge of death. Anything other than that is relaxing. Although driving in Atlanta is kind of being at the edge of death. But you guys know what I mean. Mr. Huggy says, I know what you mean about doing monotonous tasks. When I was a manager of a tech store, my favorite job was cleaning. Yeah, it's true. There's there's actually meditations based in cleaning meditations, because it's it's a monotonous, meditative kind of thing, right? Cleaning, doing stuff that's just the same every single time. And yeah, we sometimes I feel like we maybe don't get enough of that in our daily lives. And when I have some of that in my it's, you know, exercising too, to some extent, right? We need it. We need that in our lives. We need half an hour a day of either actual meditation or meditative tasks. So I'm looking forward to that. Weirdly. Super Deluxe says, Drone Co. rebuilding my Slam Squirts. We decided on FPVCycle pancake motors. Did we make the right choice? The Squirt is a heavier frame than the Cinesplore. So the FPVCycle 2304, 2303, whatever the hell they are, pancake motors are probably the right choice. I'm going to challenge you, Super Deluxe, though. I'm going to challenge you to build a Cinesplore. And what I think you're going to find, and what many have found, is that it flies quite a bit better than the Squirt frame. Removable arms, so the carbon fiber strands are going in the correct direction on the arms, and then if you break an arm, you can just easily swap it out. The duct selection is much better. You have access to the StanFPV molded by HQ ducts, which are phenomenal. You also have access to the Cloud 149 really tall ducts, which are amazing for really, like, if you're really getting up and close with talent and you don't want to cut them up, because the ducts are really tall and they really bury the propeller in there, so it's super safe. And they're also molded as well, so they're very strong. And because of how tall they are, they're very slow. So if you really want to get in close with talent and really kind of move around, it's just, those ducts are just awesome for that. They suck outside, but that's where you can put on the StanFPV ducts. They're much lower profile and they fly great outside. What else do I like about this? Those are the two big things, but they're pretty big things. Everybody that I've let a bunch of people fly or talked a bunch of people into building Cinesplores that have come from Squirts, even Slam Squirts, and every single one of them is like, okay, I didn't know Cinewhoops could fly like this. That Nurkala had that experience, and Jet also had that experience, even though I don't know either of them personally. But yeah, it's that's my challenge to you, Super. If you don't take the challenge, I get it, because Squirts fly totally acceptable. There's plenty of professionals using Squirts, but I've yet to, I'll put it this way, I've yet to have anybody fly a Cinesplore that's also flown a Squirt that hasn't said, wow, this definitely flies better. And Cinewhoops kind of fly so bad that it makes a difference. Oh, the other thing is that the Cinesplore is a much lighter weight frame, and I really do find that lightweight helps Cinewhoops. It helps them be more accurate. So for me, if I'm trying to shoot a tiny little gap over and over and over again, take after take after take after take, that lightweight really helps out. If you do the Cinesplore build, you do not have to go with that big of a motor. You can go with a 2004 or a 2104 motor, and that's going to bring the weight down even more. The frame is lighter, and then the motors are even lighter. And then you can even shrink your battery down. I run 4S 850 mAh batteries, and I get 5+ minutes of uptime if I'm not having to haul ass. And the whole rig weighs like, I think it's like 480 grams all up. It's fucking light, and that's with a Hero 8 on it, full weight Hero 8 on it. So there's my challenge to you, my man. But for a Slam Squirt, those FPVCycle pancake motors are gonna really, really transform. I'm assuming you had it on 1507s, and Jesus Christ, are you in for a treat? Those motors are gonna fly so much better than any 1507 or 1408 or any of the tall, skinny motors. So you're in for a hell of a treat when you get those Slam Squirts back, but the challenge has been laid down, bro. Build yourself a Cinesplore. You'll love it. Hold on. Voice is going. I was up all night talking to people on set. Whew. No one FPV says, strangely, I can still hear high frequencies very well. frequencies I shouldn't hear anymore. I'm not complaining. I guess no one FPV is getting older. When you get older, you're supposed to not be able to hear high frequencies is good. Brandon's Baked Beans says tuning is fun and easy once you get the hang of it. For tricky stuff, black box is the way. Thanks. Thanks, CiottiFPV. Hit me up. Woo! I am beat. Abraham with a $9.99 super chat. Thank you, brother. He says, I'll be driving into MX5s in the next year. Oh, diving. Very important distinction there. Diving into MX5s in the next year or so. Want it to be a weekend toy, not a track car, but not a daily driver. Got any quick buying tips, model years, thing to look for, guides, resources? Aber, there is so much Miata info on the internet and on YouTube. You're gonna have a good time getting into it. For a weekend toy, not a track car, the biggest suggestion I'm gonna give you is to run skinny tires and skinny wheels. I'm talking. So if you get, there's 4 generations of Miata: NA, NB, NC, and ND. The NA is the pop-up headlight model, the OG pop-up headlight model. The NB is mine with the rounded headlights. The NC is even more rounded and bubbly and kind of bigger and chunkier and heavier. And then the ND is the current generation. ND is the best, hands down, but you're going to spend a bunch of money on them. NC is the bastard child. It gained weight. It also gained a bigger engine. It's a great daily, but it's not as good of a track toy or weekend toy. It's actually a better track car though, because it's got, you can put bigger tires under the fenders. You can put a bigger tire under the bigger engine under the hood. But we won't get into the NC. It's kind of ugly. The NB is my gen. That's the one that I prefer. It's not as nice as the ND, but it's a hell of a lot cheaper, and it's quite a bit lighter than the NC. And then the NA, the first gen, is very similar to the NB. Very, very similar. They look different. If you like the way pop-ups look, get the NA. If you don't like the way pop-ups look, get the NB. They're the same car underneath. On the NA and the NB, 15x7 wheels and 195 40. I forget if it's 40 or 45. 195, let's say 40 by 15 tires are a great choice. You keep the rotating mass down, and the beautiful thing about the Miata is when it doesn't make a lot of grip, you can slide it around and really kind of play with it. Once you put big chonky wheels and tires on like I did, I put 15x9s with 2 25s on. The fact that it doesn't have much horsepower, you can't really play around with it until you're going like stupid fast, and you can't really do that on public roads, so it becomes a track car. A brilliant track car, but a track car nonetheless. So yeah, but there's lots of information on how to buy the right MX-5 for you. And if you have questions, hit me up. Javier says, I saw the stream late, but I heard the Retoria story. Awesome. It was hard to find info on the LB97. Apparently, Diatone has one in stock. That's wild. I'll let you know when I build it. Very cool, Javier. If you have any questions, let me know. Super Deluxe is building an O2 WRX. He's investing stock in head gasket companies at the moment. Robbox is in Subaru Motors blow head gaskets all the time. For anybody that's not a car nerd. Robbox is and says, pics of frames sent, Facebook Messenger. Thank you, Rob. I actually want to look at it right now. I'm too curious. Too curious. Come on! Jesus, it's 4:24 already. We're probably not going to work on the Razorback today. Nah, we will. We'll do a little. We'll do one motor, and then I'll do the rest of the motors off stream. Jesus. Throat's going to hell. This will give me a second to rest my voice. Okay. All right, Rob, hold on. Oh, yeah. Oh, man, I wanted to build that so bad. That little toothpick frame, okay. Yeah, I don't know who that's built by. Don't know who that frame is made by, but I like it. I'm not going to show it to you guys. It's just a toothpick frame. Remy Tim dropping the Patreon link. Thank you, dude. Abraham says, The OG Tinywhoop was the Inductrix. The O&O was the early Chinese knockoff. Good call, Aber. Inductrix. Good call. Good call. Good call. Hey, look at the... Wow, look at all the 1S's in chat. Jesus. Kestrel, Alpha Sloth, Kevin Sumner, Rob Axis and Terry, Northern Tier, CH3, Apache, I Am Karate, Robert Garcelone, Rockcrawler's going 2S, Superlux is going 2S too. Superlux says 2S, it's about the prop size, not the voltage. Frank Douglas calling out. Frank, you can't, you already knew that. We let other people, let's see if anybody else knows it, Frank. That's Frank, by the way, I saw your email, I just didn't have a chance to read it. I saw it last night on set. Abraham says, I was saying tiny whoops are 1S only, 2S plus no longer qualifies. Oh, okay, Aber. So we're thinking the same thing, Aber. Oh, hey, Aber. Aber, before I forget, I do need to get caught up on Discord, but hey, here's the Axis box. Something I wanted to show you. Here are the outputs on the Axis box. It's got, I don't know. Hopefully this helps you, but I know we gotta have a call. I want to find some time for a call to talk about this. But here's the outputs on the Axis box. Aber seems to be down with the adventure of making me an enclosure for this Axis box with a little screen in it that I can use for the American Crit live flying events, which is just absolutely amazing of him. But I need to we need to get on a phone call, and I've just been hammered lately to kind of figure it out. And then or Aber, do you want me to just send this to you? Should I just get this in the mail right away and just get it to you? Because that American Crit thing, I think it's in the end of July. So like there's time, but I don't want you to have to like rush through it. I don't want, I want you to be able to do it like completely in your spare time when you're bored with everything else in life. Charles Marseille says Charles Marseille is building a 240. That's pretty cool. The most overpriced 90s car
in the world.
Do I like 240s?
No! No!
Did that play? Wait, what? Did no work?
No!
I don't not like I don't know. Remy Tim says, for me, the ideal tiny whoop is 65mm 1S, but if someone else flies a heavy-ass 2S 75 that flies like shit, I wouldn't know what to call it other than a tiny whoop, just a bad one. Yeah, it's very true. What the hell do we call what the hell do we call 2S tiny whoops at that point? Just shittily flying rigs, I guess. I don't know. There's a place for them. If you're flying around like a warehouse or some shit, then I get it. Bobby Bag says, I just bought a Cinesplore with the stand ducts. Hell yeah. You're gonna love it, Bobby. They are wild. If you get sick of the so Stan molds in some threads and then he gives you big long screws and then the screws go into those plastic. Well, when you crash, it's gonna pull out of that plastic. Stan's solution is to tighten it back up and hit the screw with a torch. And the screw will get hot and it'll rethread the plastic. But every time you crash, it's gonna pull out. That's what she said. Most importantly, but also, which is kind of a deal breaker for me. You can use the tip of your soldering iron to melt these little. You want to drill it out a little bit. But you can get these little brass collars. You probably already have some from other FPV things. And you can sink them down into those ducts and it makes them way stronger, way stronger. So yeah, that's what McConnell Studios has been doing, and myself. I've been doing it much less successfully than him, but I do have a fresh set. We're going to see it in a minute when I do a mailbag, when I get caught up here. I do have a fresh set of stand ducts that I am going to melt these. These are slightly longer than the normal brass collars. I'm trying to get all the strength I can possibly get out of the ducts, but even the short normal brass, sometimes they get called M2 to M3 adapters. Yeah, they make great little inserts for those stand ducts to make them incredibly strong. I talked to Stan and I tried to convince him to do that, and he was uninterested. So we have to do it ourselves. Kind of annoying, but JRadFPV says, totaled the only brand new car I've ever owned before it was 3 weeks old. Oof. Sold the sticker in the window. Jesus. That's hard, brother. Ugh. Reading the Wind says, anybody have a Blade Nano QX? I love that thing. I'll do you one better, my friend. This is the very first rig that a friend of mine who, for some strange reason, chose my wife in the divorce and is no longer my friend. He sent me that he got into Inductrix, and then he sent me this, and just got to get me hopelessly. He was a friend of mine from back in airsoft days, and yeah, he sent me this, and this is what got me started in FPV. That red button puts it into 3D mode. I think you could hit the red button and invert the fucking thing. I never did 3D with it. I should rebuild this one of these days. Look at this fucking thing. Look, they use the PCB as the frame. The frame was the PCB. Wild. Just a ridiculous design. This flew pretty good though. It was line of sight only. I could have probably stuck a camera to it. It probably had just barely enough thrust. Brushed motors. Here's the whole thing. So I had these little jib jabs that held the motors, and they went into the frame like that, and they were a little landing gear, and then it had this little canopy. Boop. And yeah, it was a line of sight rig, and this is what started it all for me. I remember the big thing for me with this is I could not believe how stable it was in the air from it having a gyro and like some kind of a PID loop. And that like authority that it had and that ability that it had to just like fucking hover, and then every input would, but it was just like locked in the air. I'll never forget how fascinating that was to me. And yeah, that's what started it all. Those were the days. Standing on the little balcony on my deck in Charleston, just railing that thing around the parking lot, trying to keep my orientation. Learning how to fly. Denzel the Terrible says, keep me posted on the monitor box specs 3D model. I want to do the same. Very cool. My voice is really going. Jesus. Bob Noxious says, CiottiFPV sound bites. I wonder what I was screaming about. Charles says, I hate 240s too, but 80 spaceships are just up the bar. Fair enough. Ernesto rightly says drift tax. Yeah, 240s are rough when it comes to drift tax. Abraham says, you can send it to me and I'll get something made ASAP. Most of what we need to talk about is features, options. I sent you my number. Just text me if that's easier than Discord. It is. Awesome. Thanks, Aber. Reading the Wind says, yes. Abraham says, I forgot about that radio. 3D with brushed. Yeah. 3D with brushed is a terrible idea, but they did it anyway. Brushed motors, the commutators, I think they're called. They're directional. Oh, I left this out. God damn it. So, running a brushed motor backwards hurts it. It eats the. Oh no, it's not the commutator. It's the brushes. It's the brushes. The brushes are directional. So running a brush motor in reverse eats the brushes faster than running it forward. So you don't want to do that. But I assume that Horizon Hobbies thought was, well, you know, they're not going to fly it in 3D all the time. It's just going to be a little party trick. And that it was. Quite the party trick. Ah! Alright, I'm about to be caught up on chat, and then we can do some stuff. We're going to do mailbag, we're going to look at these 1404s, and we're going to do one motor on the Razorback. Jared says, I have that frame board 3D thing. Oh, came in an FPV lot on eBay. I didn't really know what it was. Nice, J-Rod. That's wild. Alright, cool. So we're caught up on chat. First things first. On today's episode of Mailbag, I got more shit than my head. First, I did a Pyro drone order. I got a couple of batteries. I've already been using them. Whatever. But here's the exciting stuff from the Pyro drone order. Pyro drone sells M2 by 2mm fancy little knurled spacers, and I love them, and they're nice to have around, and they're cheap. So if you're building micros, get yourself some 2mm anodized threaded jib jabs, and you'll love your life. There they are. Logitech, don't focus. I don't want you to focus. Stay not focused. There they are. M2 by 2mm. Pyrodrone also sells a glide knockoff, basically, and they sell replacement arms, and they work on the real glide from FPVCycle. So I don't want to support Pyrodrone's version of the glide because it's not the real version of the glide, but that's exactly what they're used for, Kevin Sumner. Yep, spacers, stack spacers. Oh, hey, to whoever was having the twitching problem earlier, I forget who it was. Also, make sure that your stack screws are solid. Whenever you run stack screws up through the bottom of the frame, you want to make sure that there's a threaded spacer like this or a nylock holding that screw so it's perfectly vertical and it can't move around at all. You don't want to just run stack screws up and just have like non-threaded spacers all the way up, because what'll happen is the whole stack can move around like this. You always want to make sure. Chris Rosser has a video of it. He calls it the golden nut. Yeah, you just want to make sure that, and this is a thing that I've been doing forever that I forget to mention a lot. It's really important. Wherever your flight controller is mounted, you need those screws coming up through the base plate to be solid. You cannot let your stack move around front and back. That is bad. That will cause all kinds of problems. So yeah, easiest thing to think of, every single time you do a build, you're going to have stack screws that come up through the base plate. Make absolutely sure that on top of the base plate you have a nylock nut or a threaded spacer or just something that's going to pull that stack screw upwards and lock it in so that your stack screws are just pillars of strength and anger. So yeah, I snagged a glide arm from Pyrodrone because I'm completely out. I do not have a single extra glide arm, and that is not good. The star of the show of this mailbag, though, are two new 1404s. So we're gonna actually Marcel says, why don't stack screws go through the top plate and bottom plate for more strength? It'd be a bitch to build it with it going through the top. It'd be a bitch to work on. It wouldn't be that bad. It's a good idea. It's a good idea. It would interfere with the battery straps, though. Kind of be annoying. We've got 2 new contenders in the world of 1404s. Over here, this is kind of sort of one of every 1404 that's like easily available. We've got, this isn't a 1404. This is an 1104. What's this doing out? We've got the Emax Eco 1404. I found this to be way too fragile. These just blew up constantly, so I cannot recommend the Emax 1404. X-Nova 1404. Let me do this on the bench cam so you guys can actually see these. Not that that really matters, but this is what the Emax Eco 1404 looks like, and this right here is the problem with the Emax Eco 1404. They use cheap metal, I think, and the stator base. Fuck you, Logitech, you goddamn dirty whore. Hold on. Yeah, go to 4x3. Good, good. Go to 4x3. Make sure you don't... You... Okay. Alright. Right there is the problem with the Emax 1404. See how that stator leg is all bent to shit? That happened to a bunch of these Emax 1404s, so I do not recommend those. This is the X-Nova 1404. Beautiful little motor, but very, very coggy. Way too coggy, way too notchy for anything HD, in my opinion, and in my experience. This is the Hyperlight 1303.5. These were not balanced, so F them. This is the Dave C NIN 1404. It's not super coggy, but it's very heavy. It's too heavy. Too heavy of a motor. No good. This is the Zing 2 1404. Not super notchy. Not super smooth either, somewhere in between. Too heavy. Far too heavy. This is the Brother Hobby 1404. A little bit too notchy, but we're also kind of boycotting Brother Hobby because of how bad they fucked over FPVCycle. So Brother Hobby can go to hell. This is also too notchy. It's lightweight though. It is a lightweight motor, but too notchy. This is the Happy Model 1404. Too notchy, and it's made by Happy Model, so it's you know, it's got drone aids. This is the Zing 1404. Somewhere in the middle in terms of notchiness and cogginess, but it's a little bit too heavy. It is a 9x9 motor mount base, which is cool, but it's a little bit too heavy. The one-piece bell. The Zing motors are always a little heavy. This is an okay choice, though. This is a good one. But my favorite, my preferred at the moment, before we look at these 2 new ones, my preferred 1404 is the T-motor. It's the smoothest. It still has a little bit of cogginess to it, but of these other ones, it's the smoothest. 4600 kV is a great kV, and it's made by T-motor, so it's, you know, chances are it's going to be really good quality. So yeah, the T-motor is my current favorite 1404, and it's nice and lightweight. But a couple of new contenders have arrived. HGLRC Areola 1404s. So here they are. I haven't really checked these out too much. Nice and smooth, actually. Let me compare it to the... You guys won't be able to tell, but just take my word for it. Alright, there's the T-motor. There's the Areola. So it's smoother. It's actually ever so slightly smoother than the T-motor, but look at the difference in size. I don't know what HGLRC is doing when they spec these motors out with their manufacturers, but like, I am not holding one of those closer to the camera than the other. This is fucking huge for a 1404, so it's probably going to be heavy. So let's take a look. There's no reason for a 1404 to be heavy. Well, I don't know. Okay, hold on. I gotta cut the motor wires down for it to be a fair fight. All right, so I'll make sure I get these cut to the same length. And yeah, there we go. Okay. Now they're just like a millimeter too long. Perfect. All right, and let's see. Let me just check it again. Yes, there we go. Okay, so they are the same length now. T-Motor 1404, current favorite, coming in at 8.1 grams. HGLRC nipple motor, 9.5 grams. Nope, too heavy. Get it out of here. Even though it's a little bit less coggy, that's way too heavy. Last but not least, we've got the Axis. I hate their naming nomenclature. 144, 1404, 4510 kV. I've been pretty impressed by Axis motors, and this one is no different. This is smoother than the T-Motor. If that's somebody texting me to tell me that the camera's out of focus, I know. Logitech makes the worst cameras on earth, and their autofocus sucks a big bag of dicks, and so I have to use manual focus. Send Logitech a complaint and say, yo, my favorite live streamer, CiottiFPV, has one of your cameras and it's a piece of shit. Get your shit in a sock and figure out how to make a proper webcam, you jackasses. So here's the T-Motor, and okay, they feel pretty much identical. So same cogginess as the T-Motor. Wow, it's Maggie telling me that the camera's blurry. Thank you, baby. We good, though. Okay, so the Axis is the same notchiness. They did something here that I really like. They put some goop here, some liquid electric tape, it looks like, where the joint of the stator windings hit the motor wires. That's pretty cool. I actually really like that. Other than that, I mean, it's kind of standard fare. It is 9x9 mount. That's good. Let's get it weighed, though. That's gonna be the big donger. Hold on. So it's gonna be out of focus for a second. Stand by, friends and family. I just want to get this cut as close to the same length as I possibly can. It looks like they used a thicker wire on here. Hold on. Let me... so most of these 1404s use 24 gauge. This looks a lot thicker. Nope, it's 24 gauge. It's just got the thicker silicone on it. You know what I'm saying? Which is kind of nice. Adds a little bit of weight, but so let's see. Axis 1404, 8.3 grams. T-Motor 8.2 grams. Very cool. So I'm gonna say this: the Axis 1404 and the T-Motor 1404. These are my favorites. These are it. I haven't flown either one of them, so but I'm gonna be looking into building some lighter weight ripsqueaks on 1404. So I'm gonna pick one or the other, or I guess maybe I'll do both. I guess I could maybe snag a set of each. Maybe I'll do a little fund up here for some 1404s, and yeah, we can test and see which are the CiottiFPV approved donkey nutsack 1404s. Christ. All right, I'm actually going to leave these out, and we're going to continue checking out my mail bag. Hey, I stole that little mailbag thingy from Mighty Car Mods. Go subscribe to their channel, or I'll eat your face. This is an order from GetFPV. I got some, and this will make more sense in a minute. I got a set of Gemfan Wind Dancer 4032s, 4032 propellers. And I got a set of Gemfan Wind Dancer 4052, both of them tri-blades. And then I got a set of the new Gemfan 2-inch bi-blades, the 2015s, because I'm going to be doing a little 1S toothpick at some point here, and I think the frame will clear 2-inch propellers. CH3 says, I have the Luminaire 1404 4600s, and they are so notchy. Are they really? I wanted to get a set of those. That's insane, because Luminaire calls them a cinematic motor. They call it a... Do you have those, CH3? Do you have the Luminaire cinematic 1404s? For a cinematic motor to be notchy, that's the dumbest thing ever. I wanted to buy a set, one of those, to test it, but they're out of stock in 4600 kV. Look at this. So, this is the ISDT 608 AC. This is their, where the hell is it? Hold on. Where is it? There it is. This is their tiny little charger that has a little removable power supply, which I just absolutely love. When I'm out on gigs, it's like 50-50. 50% of the time, I'll be at a gig where there is an outlet somewhere that I can use. 50% of the time, there won't be an outlet. When there's not an outlet, I can just bring this part of the charger, hook an XT60 directly up to it, and charge from it. So what I do is, I always load out with 8 6S 1050s. If I have to fly a 5-inch rig, even when I typically think that I won't be flying a 5-inch rig, I still bring them. And I load out with 10 to 12 4S 850s. On the gig, typically I fly the 4S 850s, and what I'll do is I'll hook up the 6S 1050s to this little... I have another little charger, but now I'm going to be doing it with this one. I did this on the gig last night. Hook the 1050 6Ss up to this, and I can charge almost 2 4S 850s from one of those 6S 1050s. It helps because, like, once I get to the gig, I talk to the director of photography, the producer, the assistant camera, all the folks about what are going to be the shots, what are the speeds involved, you know, like all the things. So I figure out exactly what's going on, and then I will know for sure I am going to fly a 5-inch rig. I'm not going to fly a 5-inch rig. I'm going to fly a Cinewhoop. I'm not going to fly a Cinewhoop. So yeah, this detached part of the charger will allow me to do that. But then there's this awesome little power supply. So if there's a plug at the spot, I take this and I slot it in there, and now it's an AC charger from wall power. So I don't have to use my I don't have to charge from batteries. This is great for me. I really dig this. And this small part of the charger goes in these little iPod socks. Anybody have these iPod socks floating around? You had to buy 6 of them. They sold them in a 6-pack way back in the day. Way back in the days of iPods. So there's always been like 5 of these floating around. It fits perfectly in the little iPod sock. I used this on last night's gig. This has something really important for doing that. This has the ability to put a cutoff on the input voltage. My fucking toolkit chargers don't have the ability to do this. Why that's important is when I have a 6S 1050 plugged into this, if I don't pay attention, the toolkit chargers will drag that fucker down to 3.3, 3.2, 3.1 volts per cell. This thing has an input voltage cutoff setting that I put to 22 volts. 22 volts is 3.5 volts per 3.5 volts per cell on a 6S battery. So yeah, Arazi B says his toolkits have a cutoff. That's awesome. The toolkit that I only have one toolkit charger, and it's the and it does not have that option, and it's the M6D. The M6D does not have that input cutoff thing, which is a shame because it's a nice small charger. It's technically a little bit smaller than this ISDT, but this does not have this excellent little AC backpack. So fuck this thing. Hey, who wants this? This M6D has the screen is fucked up, but it's only like the left, the right. It's usable. It's totally usable. It's kind of a pain in the ass because sometimes you can't see the settings, but this is totally usable. Not for your only charger, but this is a great little field charger. I've been using this for a field charger forever. I'll sell this to you cheap if you want it. Message me CiottiFPV on Instagram, Facebook, wherever you want. Totally fine little charger. It's got the dual ports in the front. You can get a replacement screen from AliExpress for like 16 bucks, and then you'll wait 100 days and nights for it. Yeah, totally fine little charger, but this ISDT is better. They sell this ISDT charger over on GetFPV, which is where I would recommend you get it from. And do me a favor and use my affiliate link over on CiottiFPV.com if you order it. Yeah, this is I'm super down with this. 608 AC is what it's called. Yeah, this is in my opinion the best of the travel chargers, mainly because of this. This is a big deal, right? Like, what, you either drag around like a B6 AC and it sucks, or you drag something like this around. What does this do? 8 amps? I think this does 8 amps. I don't know. It'll say in the specs, but it's got a good. Yeah, this is the best travel charger
in the world.
No! No, 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 no! No, no, no! I wish I could hear it. I'm so jealous that you guys get to hear that and I don't. Athix likes his ISDT P10. Is that the big one? I have the P30. Oh, look! My charger dick is bigger than yours, Athix. I have the P30. That means I'm a better person. Yeah, the P series of ISDT chargers seem to be beastly motherfuckers. I'm super happy with this P30. It was discounted. There was a big discount on it when I bought it. But yeah, the 608 AC, best travel charger in the world. And look at this! I got another ELRS Happy Model AIO, so that we can. This will just make it a little bit easier for me to do head-to-head testing on some of these TinyWhoop motors. So yeah, there's another Mobula 6 ELRS build coming at you. I've got the canopy with the Runcam Nano ready to go. So yeah, this is exciting. Slap that together this Wednesday. Ah. Next box is from StanFPV. He sells these wrap straps. The blue versions of these wrap straps that Steel likes are dog shit. They tear way too easily. Maybe these black ones will be better. I doubt it, but they were cheap, and you know, I'm willing to find out. I love the idea of these wrap straps, but the blue ones are just shit. They just rip super easily. I don't understand. I mean, he never crashes, so I guess it makes sense. But yeah, it's whatever. Weird. Set of the HQ Cinesplore molded ducts that I'm going to be putting these brass collars into. Let me get caught up on chat real quick here. Let's get caught up on chat here. Rob Axelson says, Emax did the goop where the wires exit the motors on the replacement Tiny Hawk Freestyle motors. That's pretty cool. I'm into that. Bobby Bag says Axis Flying derived from T-Motor, correct? Yeah, some of the T-Motor employees left and created Axis Power. CH3 says the Zip 2. Okay, CH3. All right, so that's not the cinematic 1404. Okay. CH3 FPV says on the QAV 2.5-inch whoop. Mr. Syncopad says, so why not a field pack CiottiFPV? I run a 19 amp hour. It's for 18 6S 15 550s. Just too big. The field. It's just another thing to carry. And I don't have one, and they're kind of expensive. So yeah, it's just I try to pack as light as possible. And I want to bring a bunch of charged batteries, so I'm ready to go. Anyway. So it just makes sense to my loadouts are always like as minimal as possible, and kind of like as smart as possible in a way, like just as thought out as possible. Like I'm never gonna have a gig where I fly 50 batteries, so I never have to have like some huge honking battery. Like flying 50 batteries on a gig is just. That's 50 batteries worth of footage. That's just not going to happen. It never happens that way. Most gigs I'll fly 1 or 2 batteries on, to be honest. Sometimes I'll fly 4 or 5. Very rarely will I fly any more than like 4 or 5 batteries. But it's not impossible, but it's just certainly not the norm. FamG says, that's a battery investment. What brand do you prefer? A lot swear by Tattoo. Tattoo R-Line is the best that I've found in terms of price, weight, and performance. On my 605 gram freestyle rigs, I really like the Tattoo 1050 6S. And then on the Cinesplore, I'm gonna start buying the Tattoo 4S 850s, but at the moment I've got a ton of GNB 4S 850s. They're totally fine. You can get them really cheap on race day quads. There's a 3-pack of 4S 850s that's really cheap, and they work great. But technically speaking, the Tattoo R-Line 4S 850s are a little bit better. Especially the new version 4. Unfortunately, the new version 4 is an XT60 plug, so you're going to have to convert it from XT60 to XT30, which is a pain in the ass, but it's totally doable. Just be careful. Remember that there's power in that battery, so clip one of the leads, solder that to the XT30, shrimp wrap it, and then cut the other lead, and then solder that to the XT30, so that you never have an opportunity to accidentally have those cut wires touch each other and blow your ass up. Tuner Taxi says, take all your 6S hooked to a parallel board, then use them to charge your 850. That is an option. I guess I would have to carry around a parallel board, which I'm not really interested in. Again, packing light and all. That would prevent me from, on the toolkit charger, that would have prevented me from pulling the voltage down too low, but now with this ISDT charger, it's not an issue. What I do like the idea, one of the local guys actually started doing this, and I love this idea. You keep it's a little sketchy though, you keep your freestyle batteries that you crash really hard, you got to be careful with the crashed really hard batteries because they could catch on fire. Ideally, you want to keep your cycled out batteries. And even this is sketchy because when the batteries get cycled out, usually one cell will take a hell of a beating, and that's the cell that can catch on fire, like we saw on the live stream last week. But yeah, if you have batteries that don't smell sweet and they're just cycled out and the internal resistances are high, and hopefully the internal resistances are high across the board. Don't do this with a battery that has one cell with a really high internal resistance, because that has a potential to catch on fire. But if you have cycled out batteries where all the internal resistances are high, keep them, and then those are like a battery bank, and you can hook those up to a parallel board, and then hook that parallel board up to the back of a charger, and you've got a free charging station, basically. I haven't had enough of those. I typically kill batteries from physical destruction, so I don't typically have batteries that get cycled out before they're like dangerously beat to hell. So for me, it doesn't happen very often. But yeah, that's a way to have a little free battery bank. Razzie B says you got to set it up in the power adapter thing. I don't have the M6D. I have the M6 and the M7. I don't have a power adapter for mine, Razzie B. It's just an XT60 straight in. FamG says, I will take it. Shoot me a message. It's all yours. Sell to you cheap. B-Man says, what's up, fam? What's going on, B-Man? Athix says, oh, we got that. Tuner Taxi says, isn't Air 8 is 20 amps 8S great charger for Uner $65. If anybody's near Tuner Taxi, go check on him. I think he might be having a stroke. Rob Oxison says, I finally broke down and bought the Hoda 620. I don't know anything about Hoda chargers. Isn't Air 8 is 20 amps 8S great? What? Air 8? What's Air 8, Tuner Taxi? Reading the Wind says M6D equals junk. Do you have one blow up? Bob Noxious says, what is pulsing light above the mat? What's the mat? Above the mat? I don't see any mats. I also don't see any pulsing lights. Above the mat? All right, caught up again. Cool. Back to my mail bag. Build mat. Build mat. There shouldn't. I don't see any pulsating lights. Oh. Oh, that's just the Logitech being a fucking asshole for no reason. Let's see if it's because of that. Yeah. The Logitech's auto exposure was losing its mind because, God forbid, you put a scale in frame. Wow, Logitech, you should be beaten with a hammer. Unbelievable. All right, look at this. Look at this. This is the main event of this box. I don't know why the hell I bought. I do know why I bought these, because they were on sale. These are ducts for a 5-inch rig that allow you to run 4-inch props. And now these 4-inch gem fan props make a lot more sense to you guys. I've always been kind of curious about these. Not curious enough to buy them, but I was doing an order, and I don't know. Curiosity got the best of me. I gotta be honest, I'm pretty disappointed by these. The problem, the reason that I've always stayed away from, I've stayed away from ducts like this, is that they mount to the inside of the motor, and that's not a strong mounting place. Like, this will just break. But it's way worse than that with these ducts. I'm super disappointed. Take a look at where the screws are gonna mount. You see how it's see-through there? It's very thin. Like absurdly thin. It's gonna be hard for me to show you this, but the point where the motor screws actually go in here, look how fucking thin that is, man. That is so dumb. This is basically a duct that the first time you hit anything with it, it's just gonna explode. At which point, what the fuck do you even have it on there for? Like, what? Why? I'm gonna try them, but that is stupid. I think the reason why they made it so thin there is so that you don't have to use extra long screws, but what the fuck? Like, what? Oh, I didn't have to use extra long screws, but every time I crash, it explodes. Like, and they're just like so that part, like the part that needs to be really strong is incredibly weak, and then the rest of the duct is like absurdly beefy. Like the whole, like, I just like, it makes me so angry when things get made that, like, we really need, and then they just, it's like some stupid thing gets over. I don't get it. I don't get how that could be overlooked. Like, I don't know, man. I'm super disappointed. I am gonna try these. Maybe I'm wrong. Maybe I'm wrong. Maybe they're extra strong. They won't be, but they make this noise. That's kind of cool. What if I do all four of them? I don't know. But yeah, I should be able to put these on the. So they're the ducts themselves are 5" in diameter, and then you can put you'll clear a 4" prop. They should clear the cinematic glide with the dead cat arms. This one. Yeah, they should clear that. Nope, they're gonna hit the GoPro mount. God damn it. They're too tall. And they're gonna hit the GoPro mount. Fucker. Well, whatever. I'll try them anyway. Maybe they'll somehow clear it. I don't know. I'm also staggered at how heavy they are. Let's get a weight on them. I wouldn't be upset at all about them being heavy if I had a feeling that they were going to be strong. Jesus. Oh. 188 grams. Ooh. Oh, God. And they're just going to break. I don't know. Maybe I'm wrong. I hope I'm wrong. I really hope I'm wrong. I really, really, really do. Because these are an interesting idea. These are an interesting idea. Being able to take a 5" rig and put these on it and have it be somewhat safe-ish. I don't know. A 5" rig at 900 grams with these is gonna make so much goddamn noise. Like, technically it'll be a little bit safe, but if they break, as soon as you hit anything, they're no longer safe, because they break, and then they fall down, and then the prop hits whatever you were trying to protect the prop from hitting. But maybe I'm wrong. Maybe they'll be durable. But I don't know. The whole thing is made to be so beefy, and then the one point that's going to take the majority of the stress, and the reason why that point is going to take all the stress is because of the lever, right? Like, look how long this lever is. That's going to torque the shit out of that inside part, and I can't see it surviving. One of the things that I really like about the Cinesplore is the mounting of the ducts. The duct mounts out here, and then there's 2 mounts in here. So it's not torquing, when you crash, it's not torquing from the center. It's got these 2 attachment points, so it's really, really strong. I don't know. Hopefully I'm wrong. I got a set of these HQ 6-bladed 4" props to try with those. I got a couple of Immortal T's because I was running out, although I thought that I ordered the long antenna Immortal T's. I actually need to look on their website to check that. They had Grip Light for cheap, and then Stan's got these white battery straps. I snagged a couple of those. There's your mailbag for the day. There's my mailbag for the day. You've now checked out my mail bag. Kevin Sumner says, "Can you get an M3 washer down in there? That would help a little." I could, but it's not going to help that plastic breaking. You know, that plastic is just gonna separate from the plastic around it. It's just gonna break. Rabak Assistant says, "Fill them with epoxy." I guess, but then I'd have to like drill it out, and you got to make sure you drill it out perfectly centered. And then God knows if the epoxy will be strong enough. Tuner Taxi says, ISDT Air 8, name of the charger, is an 8S charger under $65. Oh, Air 8 is the name of the charger. I did not know that. Don't check on Tuner Taxi. He's not having a stroke. I just didn't know Air 8 was the name of the charger. Cole Power says, do those ducts make any more sense if they're mounted between the arm and the motor? You would not be able to do that, Cole. It would put the motor up so high that, yeah, it would put the motor up so high that it would be outside of the duct. The propeller would be outside of the duct, so it wouldn't work from that respect. But also because of the way that this mount base is, there'd be a huge gap. Like, you'd have this big gap between the arm and the screws, and it would actually just break the duct immediately. You'd have your arm here and then your screw, so the screw would pull on that thin part of the plastic and it would just shatter it. It would just pull the motor right down through the duct, basically. So yeah, you couldn't really do that. I guess you could do that, but it would just, you wouldn't want to do it. Rabox says you sound like you stepped in dog shit. I feel like I did. FamG says, what's Grip Light versus Grip Regular? The light is thinner and lighter weight. Regular Grip it does have some weight to it. It's not, I wouldn't call it heavy, but it does have a little bit of weight to it. All right, what time is it? We're after 5 already? It's okay. I'm gonna do one arm on the Razorback so that the name of the stream was not a lie. And then I'm going to wrap it up and give my voice a rest and head to the next gig. Alright, so this is the Razorback. Right now, it just has white motors. The Razorback in the Expanse is an all-white ship with red writing on it. So we need to get some more white onto this quad. And I'm going to do that with the remainder of the white motor wire that I cut off of these motors to hook them up to the race wires. So we're going to go use this white wire to go from the race wire to the ESC. That'll add a little bit more white. But I also found on GetFPV, I also bought some white electric tape so we can use that somewhere. I found over on GetFPV, they've got white PCB race wires. So we're going to use white race wires, white cabling, white electric tape, and hopefully that'll be enough white for my brain to accept calling this the Razorback, basically. Because nobody else cares other than me. I don't know, maybe you guys care. Ah! Yeah! Alright. So let's do one of these motors. Let me pull the chat over. And alright. Although, you know, Roger has not sent me his address, so I don't know where to go. Hold on a second. Oh, boy. Okay. Do I need to take the top plate off? Yeah, it'll probably help. What was I just gonna check? Oh, texts. Fuck. Great. Roger. Send me your address. Okay, I do also want to put a blue LED in the back of this, and that'll take a little bit more time than just swapping out these arm. Although this will take a while to swap these arm LEDs out. It's a lot of soldering. 12 solder joints at the ESC, 12 at the race wires, and then 12 from the motor to the race wire. So, yeah. Ugh. Okay, here we go. Let's dig into it. You know what? I'll finish this up on tomorrow night's stream at 10 o'clock p.m. Hopefully I still have a voice by then. Going to this event, I'm going to be talking to a bunch of people. Oh, I need to swap out the TPU in the rear of this thing, too. Yeah, so this is going to take a bunch of time. But that's okay. This is a rig that really won't get, like, crashed and slammed and shit, so putting a bunch of time into it is fine. Oh, look at that. I accidentally looped the battery strap under the crossfire wire. Okay. There we go. Okay. Put that over there. Oh my god, my allergies are a fucking mess again. Okay. So, get this extra glide arm out of the way. And soldering iron is up to temperature. So I'm probably also going to have to shorten the motor wires a little bit because these GetFPV Lumineer LED race wires are a lot longer, like a lot longer than these little fellows from Donkey. These are also sort of addressable. They have 3 little tiny jumpers. Red, white, and green. Red, white, and green create all other colors. So whatever combination you use of these jumpers, that changes what the LEDs output. On this rig, again, as much white as possible. So I'm probably going to just make all of these white. But I don't know. Maybe I can make the rear ones blue because of the blue motor, you know, from Expanse. And maybe I'll even make the front ones red. I don't know. I can change. I can kind of change it on the fly, although I usually like to shrimp wrap these. So maybe I just won't, and I usually try to shrimp wrap almost the whole thing. So maybe I won't this time. Maybe I'll just shrimp wrap it across the LEDs and these little resistors. Let me do that right now, actually. Let me shrimp wrap this one, and yeah. Yeah, it's a good start. Starting point, starting place, donkeys. Man, my head's starting to get all cloudy now. That's my last little bit of that really thick adhesive-based shrimp wrap. Let's go in this little kit that I got from FPV Crate, and that's a hell of a jump. It jumps from, wait, no, what about here? Ah, here we go. No, that's not quite big enough. This is organized strangely. Yeah, no, I guess I have to go all the way up here. There's a big jump in sizes in this shrimp wrap. This is like kind of too big, although I'm going to use it. This is one step down. That's not big enough. Huh. That's fine. It's fine. So there and there. I could probably get 3 per each one of these, so I'll need 2 of them. Okay. And shrimp wrap first. So I'm going to size it to go from the LEDs to the resistors. So we're going to cut it right around here so that those little jumper pads stay exposed, so I can change the color of these LEDs willy-nilly. Know what I'm saying? I'm losing steam, friends. This is going to be... It's a good thing this is a just for fun, non-paid gig this afternoon, because I'm going to be beat and not at my best, but that's okay. Alright, it's O-fucking-K. Alright. Let's get this shrimp wrap all shrimped up. Ram Douglas says, the aluminum frame drain man tested could be a Rossi too. Nah, aluminum frames are a terrible idea. Is it just me, or is drain man intolerable? I hate to be a dick, but like, I can't make it past the first 3 seconds of any of his videos. Like, what's that guy's deal? Like, why does he come on to every video and go, "Hi, it's Drain Man"? Like, is this real life? What the fuck is going on there? Like, I mean, I'm like, who am I? But what the hell? What? Like, what? What is happening? He also kind of seemed to be a little, I don't know, he seemed to have a little bit of a, not a little bit of a, but a hell of a chip on his shoulder at Rampage. So, but man, I'm like, what the fuck? All right, so I got this a little, I did not do the good trick, and now this is all sooty. Let's see if I can wipe this soot off. Wait, let's see if I can brush it off. I don't know, like, why do people do that? Like, nobody likes it. Do people like it? What kind of a monster would like that? Now I just insulted any of you that actually watch him. I don't know. I just don't, like, just why? Why do that? Just be a person. Like, nobody, what's happening? Is it just me? And, like, I know that he's got great info, but I don't know. Maybe I'm just a shallow bastard. But I can't do it. I can't support that kind of behavior, guys. Yeah, left step. I think left step is onto it. He says most of the YouTubers my daughter watches are screaming half of the time like him. It's weird. I don't know. I guess left step didn't say like him, but yeah, I assume that it's an attempt to be like every other YouTube. I don't know. Maybe he's like that in real life. I fucking hope not. Jesus. But yeah, maybe it's an attempt to be like all other YouTubers. But like, don't do that. This is FPV. This is not like the rest of YouTube. We're fucking adults. Like, I don't know. It's probably just me. I hate to. I like I said. I hate to be mean, but you know, I'm really good at it. So. It's just beyond me. Like, oh, man, I got this too fucking hot, or not too hot. I got it into the sooty part of the flame, and now the fucking, I have to redo it. I can't abide So the shrink wrap on the race wires gets all dirty from grass and shit anyway. So I don't want it to be all sooty to begin with and then get all grassy, because then you can barely see the fucking LED shining through. So I'm going to do it again. And I'm going to show you guys the mistake that I made. Hi, guys! Hi! How are ya? Is it just me, guys? Is it just me? Am I the problem here? Is it just me? Tell me it's not just me. Make me feel better. Tell me it's not just me. Even if it is just me, tell me that it's not. Jesus Christ. Hey, look at that. It's like perfect. It perfectly makes 3. Hi. It, here's what it is. Here's what it is. Here's what it is. It comes off as incredibly fake. And in my opinion, that's not a good look. And so, like, everything after that, I'm like, I can't. But, I don't know. I have this weird thing where, like, I hate fakeness. Like, and that's on me. Like, that's a problem with me. I should not, yeah, I should not be like that. But, hey, it's the way that I am. And I don't know. Some things in life you can change. Some things in life you can't. Orga was getting pissed. Orga says if you went on for 5 seconds, I would have switched off. So here's the deal. With your lighter, the orange part of the flame is gassy and sooty. The blue part of the flame, down by the base of the lighter, is not sooty. So when you're shrinking up shrink wrap, if you don't want it to get all black and gross, you got to use the blue part of the flame, which basically means you hold the lighter like directly up to the shrink wrap. The other option is to get yourself a little $3 fucking torch from the gas station and just use that instead. So that's what I'm going to do. Because it burns a little bit more cleanly. You just got to be careful with these little torches because they get really hot, so keep them moving. Keep it moving like this. And that way you won't, because if you get the shrimp wrap too hot in one spot, it'll tear. So just keep it moving, and you'll be good to go. And there we have it. And I cut the shrink wrap a little bit too long, so now the fucking the jumpers are half covered, which is just infuriating, but I can probably just kind of come in here and just do a little whoop-de-doo and just snip a little tiny bit of it back, and we'll have access to the little jumpers. Okay, there we go. And that doesn't look that bad. It doesn't look great. I'm not super happy with that, but whatever, it's fine. I'm gonna hit it with the torch just to, because that edge is all now kind of janky. FamG says kind of how I feel about Linus Tech Talks. Yeah, I can't watch YouTubers that come off as fake. I can't, and that sucks because I miss out on some good content. But you know, I'm allowed to be an individual. I feel bad about trashing on people because it's just not cool. I don't want anybody to trash on me. Yeah. I apologize. any Drain Man fans, or if somebody sends this to Drain Man, don't, because you'll just be ruining his day. I apologize. It's not nice to. It's not cool to make fun of people. But I don't know. I would love to watch his stuff, but I need that to not happen. And it sounds from the chat like I'm not alone in that. So maybe, I don't know. Maybe he'll stop doing that. And then more people will watch. Or maybe less people will watch. I don't fucking know. Maybe people like that. I hope not. We're going to get this tinned up, and I'm going to jump all 3 of these pads to make white, and then, yeah. Bob Noxious says Read in the Wind got triggered. I didn't piss Read in the Wind off, did I? I love Read. Hugh Jellin says I feel the same way. Brandon Woodford says agree with me and can't watch him. B-Man says we're adults until fart jokes, and that's what she said gets to us. CMYK says I feel you dude. Tried his content, but it just wasn't for me. Bob Noxious says don't change. Orga says you want 5 more seconds, we'll switch you off. FamG says kind of how I feel about Linus Tech Talks. She says you're all good. I love Bob, but he kills me sometimes too. And I'm caught up. Torches bring back memories, not good ones either. Oh, okay. Just that sound sense shivers down my spine. I could never have one in my house. Right, Reed. Right. I'm not gonna. I know why. I'm not gonna say why. It's not my place to say. If you guys are not subscribed to Read in the Wind, get your ass over there. He's got some cool shit coming, and he's just a really cool dude. Reed is one of the folks that hired me for Fiverr stuff on a recurring basis. So he's one of the people that made me realize that it's a good idea to, if somebody wants to lock in like a weekly meeting with me, to do a little bit of a discount to kind of encourage that. And I really like that, because what I realized working with him and a couple other guys who did the same thing is that if I work with you every week, I can really impart like a lot of good shit, like a lot of really good knowledge, and really kind of dig in. And because what I find happens is that, like, when I have one Fiverr session with somebody, they'll ask a ton of questions, a ton of great questions, and I'll hit them with a ton of really good knowledge. But then it's hard to it's hard for them to retain all that, right? Like, think back to school. Like, it's hard to retain a shitload of knowledge. So having a recurring session, the second and the third session, it's like, yeah, we talked about this, I kind of understand it, but can you hit me with it again, or can you explain it in a different way, or I went out and tested it and here's what happened, and it really helped to get, like, lock in on some of those more complex concepts and, like, revisit them and and explain them in a different way. So yeah, shout out to that guy. And he's also got some really cool flying coming, some really cool Cinewhooping coming. So get your asses over and subscribe. It'll also guilt trip him into putting more stuff up on YouTube, because I don't think he has a lot up there quite yet, but there'll be some cool shit coming, I'm sure. Ah, my fucking nose! Fuck you, nose, you piece of shit bastard! Ugh, why? Okay. I was worried that you were triggered about me trashing on Drain Man, Reed. I was worried that, like, you were a super fan, and I was offending you. Yeah, he definitely seems like he knows his shit. But I don't know. There's plenty of people that know their shit. There's plenty of YouTube content. So it's like when there's something that I don't like, I just move right along. You know what I mean? And like that happens with me all the time, right? Like there's plenty of like Christian people. Christian people come here, and I start cursing all over the place, and they can't handle those naughty curse words, and then they leave. And you know, that sucks. Like they're missing out on some really good content, but they just can't handle me saying "God damn," and you know, that's on them. We all get to make those choices for ourselves, and I'm not going to stop saying "God damn" because you know I'm just not. I can't. I actually tried, and it doesn't work. It's a part of my vocabulary. And I'm certainly not going to change for... Nah, never mind. That would have been a mean thing to say. Alright, here we go. So I shrimp wrap these up over the connector, which I do like to do on these shorter LED race wires, especially because typically you're not going to need to hit these solder joints, because this connection is usually fine. Usually you're swapping out motors, so this is the one that you want to have exposed. So I do the extra shrimp wrap to help with prop strikes. Just a little super small, super subtle kind of thing. This VOC free flux pen is totally fine. It works just like the loaded with VOC flux pen, I guess, that I took off of there. Well, why am I'm replacing these wires and this race wire, so I can just leave these on here. I didn't need to do that. I need to desolder from the ESC, not from the race wire. All right, here we go. All right, cool. Yeah, Reed is also like a hell of a success story, man. I'm humbled by a lot of you guys, man. Like once I get to talk to you guys and like I hear, you know, so there's something in live streaming called parasocial. It's not in live streaming, but live streaming has made this very obvious. There's something called parasocial relationships, and it's basically just when there's a relationship, right? Two people or more than two people, where it's kind of one-sided. One side of the relationship knows everything about the other, and the other side of the relationship doesn't know anything. So live streaming is a great example of parasocial relationships, because you guys know everything about me, because I talk for 8 to 10 hours a week, every week, and a lot of you hang out and listen to that, right? So you guys know shit, and I tend to ramble, right? So you guys know lots and lots and lots and lots and lots about me. Well, I don't know shit about most of you. I try to read and remember what you guys type in chat, but I mainly only read the stuff in chat where you guys tag me, and usually you don't tag me when you're talking about like your personal lives, you know? You usually are talking to each other about that in chat. So when I get the opportunity to like actually spend some one-on-one time with you guys and learn your stories, I'm very often like humbled and like honored that you're willing to share some of that shit with me. I know I tend to kind of attract people that are willing to do that because I talk a lot about mental health and shit like that. But yeah, it's I always enjoy learning more about you guys. So that the relationship that we have is a little bit less one, if nothing else, so that the relationship that we have is a little bit less one-sided. You know, there was a while ago I changed what I say at the beginning of the streams to call you guys friends, Because I do, like, I do legitimately consider you guys my friends, but sometimes that feels weird because I don't know a lot about most of you. It's hard to remember it. It's hard to even see it. And it's hard to keep the names straight, right? Like, there's a bunch of you guys, and then I also have trouble with, like, you guys will have a different name on Discord versus YouTube versus Instagram versus Facebook, and I'm already pretty shit at remembering names. So yeah, it's interesting, so then, like, what's even more kind of annoying, to be honest, is that I go to, like, a couple events a year, one or two, Rampage, for example. I'm like, I want to meet as many of you guys as possible, but I just get exhausted pretty quick. And I pretty quickly get into a spot where I'm like, I can't hack it. And I, like, just kind of retreat and find solace. But I put in as much time as I possibly can, because I want to learn more about you guys and meet you guys and feel like I'm more of an actual friend to all of you. But it's tough. It's tough to do that. But it's worth it. It's worth it to try to do that. And you guys are very gracious about it. And nobody is like, oh, you fucking douche, you fake fuck. And I appreciate that. But it's a super interesting kind of thing. Dr. K talks about it all the time. He talks about parasocial relationships all the time, with the streamers that he interviews and just in his shorts that he does. And it's I don't know. Personally, I find it very interesting. I think it's, but I have, like, an interest in psychology. I think that the way that the human brain works and doesn't work is fucking fascinating. So it could totally just be me. But yeah, it's an interesting thing, and it's not gonna stop. Like, it's gonna get worse, right? As we spend more time on social media, and as social media gets better and better and better, it's just gonna happen more and more often. So it's interesting to see it grow, progress, whatever. Left Step says, are you going to paint/wrap/dip the carbon so it's white? I'm not. I've tried painting the carbon. The carbon flexes so much that the paint just cracks and falls off and shit. Plus the rig is already all the way together. I'm not going to pull it apart. You could probably, I could probably plastidip it white, and that would work. But then that white plastidip rubberized shit would get really green, I'm sure. Hydro dip might work. I don't know much about hydro dipping. I don't know how flexible it is. Razzie B says, I came for the drone, stayed for the mental health therapy. I'm a lot like you in so many ways. Our brains are usually the same wavelength. Very cool, Razzie B. Hopefully I can help. Hopefully I do help you out in some way. I'm always very. One of the things that humbles me more often than not is the mental health related messages that I'll get every once in a while. That really means a lot. Because, you know, drones are fun and all, but living a happy, healthy life where you don't want to end it all, that's even more important. So yeah, this is not me pandering for you guys to send me those messages. Like, I want those messages. What's so special about those messages is that they come like randomly. Like, they don't. I mean, I tend to get those messages after I have a big rant about mental health, but like, don't run out and send me one of those messages now, because I'll be like, oh, well, it's because I was just specifically mentioning that. If you want to send me one of those messages, wait like a couple weeks and then send it, and I'll forget about this conversation. I'll be like, oh. You know what I mean? What was that? Oh. Man, I am losing steam very quickly doing this. I also have been anxiously attacking my right thumbnail, so that's going to make stripping these wires a little bit more difficult. I'll try to do it left-handed. Hey, look at that. Got one. Strip back enough of it, though. There we go. Danzel the Terrible with 10 Canadian Californian dollars, he says, for making this cool, positive little corner of the internets for us to hang out. Thank you, brother. Very cool of you, Dan. Arizzy B says many times over. He also says, preach, you have no idea how much help that shit actually is. Well, I guess you do. Yeah, I do. I do. It's been a wild couple of years, man. Wild. I mean, the mental health journey has been a long one for me. Last couple of years have had some of the most extreme ups and downs, for sure. In some cases, incredibly extreme. But I made it through, and that's kind of all that matters. And I somehow managed to make it through in a way that didn't really hurt anybody else, which is really important to me, and didn't hurt myself, although I fucking tried. So, been a wild journey, but hey man, the fucking earth has been a wild journey for the last few years. So, you know, if you're struggling, like, understand that the fucking world is a really weird place right now. And hopefully it'll get better. Hopefully the global outbreaks of flesh-eating viruses will subside. I feel like they kind of have to. I mean, they really don't. But, yeah, it's not just you. Like, don't beat yourself up because the world is in fucking shambles. It's certainly not just you. There's a viral pandemic right now, but there's also a fucking mental health pandemic, yo. And one of the only things that's not, like, absolutely amazing about being male is that from a mental health standpoint, it's kind of more difficult because of this terrible stigma surrounding men and mental health, and yeah, this whole like tough it out culture. Reading the Wind with a 1999 super chat. Thank you, brother. No comment, just showing the love and helping his gangly friend chase his dream of being an internet sensation. No! That's not what I want, friends. I want to have a core group of awesome people that value this content and want to be a part of just the coolest community.
In the world.
Nice read. Put that as your ringtone for the people you don't like. No. Oh, my mom's going, no. Oh, God. I personally love my mom, but it's a common thing that people, it's a common thing that folks will put, like, warning sound ringtones for their mother. Which I've always found it funny, but also like, oh man, that's super mean. But you know, families are hard. Family relationships are tough. One of the hardest things about family relationships is sort of the guilt involved, and like, yeah, it's you can feel like a real failure if your parents don't love you, right? Because like you see all these fairy tale relationships between people and their parents, and it's just like, oh yeah, it's great, my parents are my best friends, oh. And I feel like much more often than not that's not the case, right? I mean, if nothing else, like you don't get to pick your family, right? Like your family is just there, and some people like me are lucky enough to have like amazing parents, and like, but a lot of people are not. So don't ever beat yourself up because you don't have a great relationship with your family. Like, it's as much on them as it is on you, but B, like, it's just the way it is, man. Like, there's yeah, it's tough though, man. Is it tough? Family dynamics are extremely difficult, and a lot of people struggle with them. There's a lot of mental health stuff that is triggered from family stuff. So don't beat yourself up too bad. It's a two-way street, yo. It's not completely your responsibility to make your family love you. Like, if they choose to love you, awesome. If they choose to love you in a way that doesn't hurt you, awesome. But yeah, don't ever shit on yourself because of that, right? Like, you do you. Be cool, be nice, put the effort in, but don't let it get like self-destructive, basically, you know? It's hard, man. It's hard to put up boundaries. It's hard to deal with that shit. It's hard to feel like a good son or daughter or whatever when that relationship isn't totally rocking, because every single TV, not every single, but most TV shows, right, display like, and movies and social media send you these signals where like family life is just this magical, amazing, wonderful, great thing. And so it's very easy to be like, oh man, mine's not like that. I must be a piece of garbage. Nope. Well, maybe. I mean, if you're a piece of garbage, then you're a piece of garbage. But you're probably not. It's probably just, you know, in the gray area, right? Life's not black and white. It's all shades of gray. Getting these nice and flat on these pads, hanging the silicone off the side. And using some flux so that it's a nice and shiny and strong joint. There we go. So there's the motor to racewire PCB connection. Come on, you dirty whore. Come on! There we go. There's that one. And I've got these little jumpers jumped for white, which is red, green, and blue. Ugh! God damn it. All right, and now we gotta go. The next part of this is just me soldering from the motor to the ESC. Just pretend like I did that. This is the 25mm motor, Ernesto. My allergies, I just want to jump off the roof. So I'm going to finish this tomorrow night and/or tonight. No one FPV with a great question, though. Serious question for you. What temperature do you set your iron to for general work? 690 because I'm a child. 700 degrees is a great round number. 700 degrees is hot enough to do battery leads, but not so hot that you can't quickly do 30 gauge stuff. Technically speaking, when you're doing 30 gauge wires, you should drop it down to like 650 maybe. When you're doing big, thick battery wires, you can move it up to like 720, 730, 740 even. And then when you're doing motor wires, which are in between, 700-ish. I've been soldering for a long time, and I had an amazing teacher in my father. So for me, I can leave it on 700 all the time and just be quick with 30 gauge and be slow with big, thick battery wires. So if it's hard for you to adjust the temperature on your soldering iron, 700 or 690 if you're a child like me, is a great middle-of-the-road kind of number. But yeah, technically speaking, it's a better bet to move the temperature up and down depending on the gauge of the wire that you're soldering. Great question, brother. Bob Noxious says, damn you, Logitech, Reed's got to go. Michael D says, coworker was saying the other day how things feel odd in life. I agreed and thought about it for a day. Came to the conclusion, welcome to the new normal. Yeah, it's true. Bob Knox just dropped the link to CiottiFPV.com. Thank you, brother. And that's it. Love you guys. Be good. Here comes some flying. I'll see you tomorrow night at 10. Here's some more stables flying. Hopefully I'm not just like randomly, weirdly cruising around like I was at the beginning of the stream. I don't know what I was doing in that battery that I was flying at stables. That was very, very weird at the beginning of the stream. But hopefully this is a little bit more entertaining. Love you. Bye-bye. See you tomorrow night, 10 o'clock Eastern.